Well, I guess I'm live now. There's a little bit of a technical glitch there. I was on a different setting. It didn't broadcast. I was wondering whether the world had gone that far as to completely censor me. But no, they didn't. In fact, despite an effective sound check, I wasn't broadcasting. Now I think I am, and I hope people will come in. We've had some problems the last couple of weeks. One of them was purely mine. Forgetting what day of the week it was. But now we've got larger problems. We've got bigger issues. We've got riots across the streets of America. We had a spark to trigger things, and the spark was the tyranny. And the tyranny has just exploded. And this was predictable. This was all predictable in how men are being disposed of. This is a complete debacle. Hey, RP, how are you? Great to have you in here. And I hope things are well and safe and calm in Toronto. Although I'm going to say it's going to spread. If there's any type of great civil debacle in America, it's going to spread up north. And that'll be it. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. Not at all. And for men in America, what's going on? This is the wrong way to do it. Lion of Mgtow has spoken and spoke wisely. That the way to do is to effectively counter the idea of qualified immunity and color of law and take these people down. Hey, Stone Reaper. I just got notice of some messages you sent, and I didn't get to read them yet. Maybe I'll do that right now and get caught up. It's been a bit of a crazy week for me here, and yeah, no, we're looking at the worst case scenario. Yeah, we're looking at it. Indeed, what we're seeing is Donald Trump is now talking about messages you sent, and I didn't get to read them yet. Doing bad things in America against thugs, and one wonders who the thugs are. The thugs look like the guys with the knees and the guns and the badges and the cutting off of other people's hair for no particular reason, and then lying about it. This seems to me like this is thuggery, and this is not going to stand. Americans aren't going to stand for this, especially when what we see is people being prevented from going about their normal lawful business. So Americans are being taught about tyranny, and they're being taught how it works. So, and are we playing right into their plan? Yeah, no. As I said in my description, that it doesn't take a genius now, some type of artistic savant to see where this is going. That you wind people up so far that it's going to be pushed over the edge. But this is part of the plan. The part of the plan is to create a gynocentric system that ultimately panders to 100% safety, and then abandon science as against this whole thing, and then brings down the whole system, and the capital moves, and we're into a new era. And so yes, horrible things are happening, and we're into a bigger event horizon here. We saw that the SpaceX or whatever launched exploded, and that was predicted about 3 years ago by Mark Sargent. If you don't know Mark Sargent, you should. Mark Sargent predicted that explosion 3 years ago. And you were saying, well, Mark, I want to see it. And my God, everything he's predicted in this area has come true. He said no one will make it up there, ever. We're into something bigger, and yeah, when PJP drops in, we'll bring him in. He just sent a note. I've been a little under the weather recently, so I'm just getting back to normal. Hey, Mgtow Warrior, welcome. Thanks for coming in. Mgtow Smurf, welcome. Bayman. CJ, hope things are doing well. It's getting real out there. I believe it's real. This is real, and what we're seeing is fire in a lot of American cities, and this is going to go north of the border, RP and other Canadians, and it's going to go south of the border. Don't you forget that. It's going to go south because apparently there's no reason, there's no hope anymore. People have been dehumanized, transhumanized, unhumanized, what other prefix you want to use with that word. And, men have been dispossessed. Why would men work? Why wouldn't they just riot? Why wouldn't they just fall into idiocracy? Yeah, okay. But for Mgtow men, for men, there's no point in doing this. Whatever it is, it's going to rot, it's going to fall, and there's no point in having a bullet in your brain. There's no point in being in prison. Friction was one thing where you were able to, do it safely at a distance and cause so much friction that maybe you could manipulate the Leviathan into self-destruction, into removing enough parts of its body that you could breathe again. But as to, going out in the streets and this sort of thing, this is not for Mgtow. There's no value in this, is there? There's no value in it. And so why would one do it? Hopelessness. But one thing about Mgtow is that there is hope. You are alive. You are breathing. There is tomorrow. And there's the knowledge that, you don't have everything you wanted. So what? Nobody does. But you got some things. And then sit back and enjoy it. Enjoy what the world has given us. And smell the roses, for God's sakes. It's springtime, moving into summer. We're approaching the summer solstice for June 21st, and this is officially the first day of summer. And just took a little drink of coffee, trying to wake up here. But we are in now a very difficult time that we see two solitudes in America and in Canada, and in fact around the Western world. We see those Karens who are screeching and demanding 100% safety and social distancing and masks and all sorts of stupidity for no modern scientific grounds whatsoever. Nothing in modern science tells us that anyone has become sick from COVID-19, and all we see is correlation. Some 80-year-old diabetic dies of a diabetic condition, has COVID-19, tests positive, and so now we're saying it's COVID-19. This is crazy. What we're into is the abandonment of modern science. And this is not going to end well. But again, women are really good with modern science. That's why they don't go into the hard sciences at all. They're not into physics. They're not into chemistry. They're not into math. They just don't do this. They do the soft ones, if they do any at all. And so this is what we're seeing is the takeover of the gynocentric system. We see an abstraction at the very basis of it in an argument to create a world which just doesn't make any sense to anyone. So we are seeing the whole system, and it's toppling. The risk has been centralized now that the government can do anything they want. They can shut down the economy, but they've lobbed off such huge parts of the economy that it's hard to see where this is going to go. Now, I'm not sure. Maybe somebody's given the president information, but you see what his gambit was in the beginning. He thought, I can get the Chinese and use this, this illness as a negotiating tactic in the trade battle. Oh, okay. But then it sort of gets out of his hands and starts, these governors start closing down and everyone starts panicking, seeing the numbers go up. But these are numbers of comorbidities, numbers of old people who would die anyway. They just happen to test positive because there's something that's testing. And so, all of a sudden, he sees his economy being ravaged. And he thinks, okay, I'm going to back off a bit, let it go down, then pump it up again in a couple of months. But, okay, in some states, it's opening up again. But in other states, it's not. And he doesn't seem to care now. Because the states who are not opening up are like New York and California. You see the gambit now? You see it? That what we're seeing is the democratic strongholds, the Karen strongholds, the psychiatric pill-taking strongholds are destroying themselves. And hopefully other parts of the country will not be hit, and their economies will pop back up. And what you're going to see is a complete destruction of the Democratic Party like you've never seen before. And but other countries in the West, you don't know what's happening with the UK. You don't know what's happening with these other countries, Canada, what's going on. I'm getting some information out of Canada. The government's giving helicopter money like crazy. They can only do this for so long, and then you'll see the effects. In fact, there's going to be effects already. You cannot do this. You cannot do this and have no effects. You cannot give helicopter money and get no effects. You're going to pay the piper. There's no such thing as a free lunch. And so something's going to come home, and it's going to bite, and it's going to bite hard. And, of course, we don't want men to be bitten. And so men and young men and Mgtow men have to get the word out. Don't let yourself be bitten. Whatever that biting is, get prepared. It's never too late to prepare. Whatever is happening, it's not too late to prepare. You get something ahead, you just get it ahead. 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, you get it ahead. 6 months, I don't know. Once you get to a couple of years, I don't know. That's probably enough. The nuclear winter is like 3 years long, right? So if you get to 3 years, yes, it is. Karen will ruin the whole world is written in the fucking Bible. Yes, it is. I remember her name being prominent in the Bible. Or maybe I was holding the book upside down. I don't know, but we have a little bit of pushback, though. There may be some good news. We saw this last week, and I pointed it out that people were able to write some inflammatory words in the chat, which is great. And Google is evil. I think we can write that in the chat. These people are evil, and though I'd never imagine myself, I'm 56, and I'd never imagine, having to say this, but the President of the United States of America has written an executive order calling for free speech, and this is hopefully going to pull things in. That these social media sites, they are platforms. That's it. Fuck off with your goddamn censorship. At this point, treason. I think the noose should be taken out. Yes, indeed. There should be a trial, and these treasonous sons of bitches should be hanged until they are dead. Well, that's if the Americans want to do it, I would say. I don't know whether we have the hanging penalty in Canada. They do in other countries, so... but I think this is treasonous to go against free speech in the West, in their tradition from England. This is what's made so much greatness is the ability to speak freely and to mess up your words if you want to. Indeed. Karen McCarrenson for president. President of nothing. President of destruction. President of the world gone into sickness. I'm thinking now, and I've had this thought, and it comes up and down, but I think we have too many people on psychiatric pills. You know how it is. You have cognitive dissonance. It drives you a bit nuts, so you go into the psychiatrist. They give you psychiatric pills, and then your cognitive dissonance just doesn't feel so bad anymore. You can take it, yeah. I can do my crazy thoughts and make it through the day. So, yeah, give me the pills, and I'll demand that these crazy thoughts continue out there. Yeah, RP, I agree. I don't recall any executions. Actually, when I was young, I think the death penalty was still there. When I was very young, what was it, 69 or 67 or something? They got rid of it. But yeah, you know, yeah, Canada is pretty mild. Of course, there was that case of that guy who just killed 22 people in Nova Scotia, and apparently he took a crowbar to some 15-year-old way back in the year 2000, and he got a $500 fine. Woohoo! Woohoo! That seems a little radical to me. Wow. 2 pounds of hamburger for $13. Jesus. That's like, wow. That's like pretty expensive, I think. Isn't that? Is that expensive? I think that's expensive. You know, I haven't bought meat in North America for a long time, but that seems a little expensive. What am I paying? Yeah, I'm paying a little bit, but hamburger where I am pretty expensive. It's cheaper just to buy like some tenderloin. Oh my God, it's funny to say it, but Jesus, it's true. Anyway, so what we got is I think the beginning of a new world. We've got a new world where we have the CNN Center in Atlanta vandalized. It's about friggin' time. Those people have called upon the Vandals. And the Vandals were a German tribe who went down to the corrupt and destructive city of Rome and destroyed it. And we see a picture here on Drudge Report of people, attacking the CNN Center and writing some fuck you or something on CNN. I like that. Those people are bastards. They used to be, Ted Turner had it. It was great, I got to say. And then he sold out. They always sell to these corporations, and the corporations become gynocentric. And, all they do is they sell people to advertisers. And so they're selling people. And that wasn't the way it was way back when it started. It was sort of a, okay, they made some money, but it was a public service, and they took pride in it. But, yeah. Oh, yeah, Mgtow Smurf. Nice one. This is it. The New World Disorder. And now it's come to... and now it's come to pass in America. The disorder that had previously been manufactured in other places, such as the Middle East, for all of my lifetime, is now that disorder is coming. And you go back and you listen to that press conference by Dr. Tedros of the World Health Organization and all of his, crony buddies there. And what they said is they declared a pandemic based upon the reporting of basically 4 countries that had, all the deaths really at that point, which were China, South Korea, Iran, and Italy. And you look at that and you say, you mean they didn't do any science? Because he didn't mention science at all. He didn't mention microbiologists or anything like that. Nothing to do with Koch's postulates, nothing to do with modern medical science has shown us that the SARS-2 virus is causing this illness and people are dying because of, there is no because of. He said it can be categorized as a pandemic. Those are very soft words. Can be categorized as. That's really not awe-inspiring, firm language. But he did it on the basis of what the Chinese Communist government told him. And then what the Iranian theocracy told them. Oh, really? And then, the South Koreans had, this rather troublesome religious sect, and that's where most of their cases was just that one religious sect, and they wanted to close them down. And then Italy, as fucked up as Italy was, and is, and has been for most of my life, politically, they're in the middle of some, political kerfuffle, and they wanted a little distraction maybe, and this was the basis for shutting down the world economy. No science, and just, relying on reports of a communist country for God's sakes, didn't you get anything from when the wall fell? When the Berlin Wall fell and we found out, East Germany, all the people in the government admitted they had been lying because they were afraid to tell the truth. The same thing in the USSR and in Poland and in the Czechoslovakia at that point and Romania. They were all lying. And so what makes you think the Chinese are telling the truth, or the Iranians? It's not a free place. And now in America, it's supposed to be free, but it's not now. You're getting shadow banned, you're getting cut off, you're getting taken down. And this is the problem. All of a sudden, we're going to be as unsustainable as the USSR. And that's why it's the USSA, because it's unsustainable. So, there we go. This is what we're seeing. We're seeing that America is now following the instructions of China. We have direct evidence of that. And maybe, Donald Trump said, okay, let's do it, and then push it back. He thought he could, pass it back like on a tennis court, lob it back to their end and have them deal with it. No, he got bit because his country is filled with Karens. His country is filled with, idiots in the Democratic Party that want to, play politics with this and try to pull the president down, And let's elect Joe Biden. He's doing better. They obviously got him pumped up on some uppers. But ultimately, he's Mr. Soft Corruption, admittedly so. And Mr., throw people in jail for no apparent reason. The 3 strikes you're out would have been fine had they been violent crimes, but they weren't. They were fucking smoking a reefer, and now that's legal. It had always been lawful, always, because there's no possible way you can make something legal that is unlawful. No way you could do that. So, obviously, it had been lawful and made illegal in order to, socially engineer, and this is the problem. People are social engineering from the government's position, and they got the guns, and they'll use it. And so America has got to stop these social engineers, because they've obviously social engineered the New World Disorder. And this social engineering agenda is criminal. And the line of Mgtow said, why are you protesting? What you got to do is recognize a qualified immunity does not hold against violations of the Constitution. Color of law does not hold against violations of the Constitution, and Americans should just sue everyone, a massive class action lawsuit against everyone in the government, personally, civil suit. Take him down. Take everything from that government. The state governments. And ultimately, if the government is violating the Constitution and is doing so without any benefit of science at all, it's going to lose. No jury would find in support of a government that's threatening its citizens based upon feelings. It'll come out in a court of law. Unless everyone on the jury is taking psychiatric pills, which in fact may be the problem. That you got so many people in America taking psychiatric pills that there's no way to get sane people to make a decision anymore. And so, this may be the end of it. Once you normalize insanity, you know what you get. Yeah. Yeah, being insane is normal. Yeah. The East German undercover communists. Yeah, I think they're probably at the very top of most state governments in the United States, and obviously, we've got the Cuban communist types up running Canada, at least genetically so, apparently, and so, yeah. The red wine in France is good. I'll give you that, pandemic. Definitely. And it may be time to pop open a bottle of champagne and drink it. And just celebrate the New World Disorder. Because there's no way anything good is going to come of this. There's no way anything good is going to come of this. You know, CBS is laying off its staff. It's gutting itself. You know, these lying pigs in this mass media, they've been socially engineering in league with the judges, and I say in league in a conspiratorial sense. These people are massively evil and destructive. In America, in Canada, in Europe, they are Karen, gynocentric pieces of shit. And I think, you know, that the time has come to take some type of action. And, you know, we've had it with this censorship. We've had it with the bullshit from the evil pigs at Google and YouTube. What have they got running Google? Some friggin' guy who comes from India, one generation. That's it? He thinks he understands freedom of speech? In one generation, he don't understand nothing. And then they got some friggin' woman trying to run YouTube right into the ground. Well, she's doing a very good job of that. Why the hell did they buy it? Why wouldn't they just leave it alone? They can't run it. They don't know shit about running a platform. Yeah, you're going to get stuff you don't like. So what? You don't want your kids to watch it? Rip out the cables. That's it. Yeah, the French children drink wine for breakfast. It's a lovely thing. That makes them, you know, have a nice day. Johnny Midnight, you trying to be funny there? Is that fucking funny? Switzerland has had epic naval battles. What, on fucking Lake Geneva? Maybe it's the epic battle between Frank Zappa and the Mothers and God almighty, can't do it. No, who was it? Dun, 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 dun. We all came down to Mgtow on the Lake Geneva shoreline. You know, my God. Machine Head. Deep Purple. I knew Purple was in it. Fuck. So, yeah, that was a naval battle on the Lake Geneva shoreline between Deep Purple and Frank Zappa and the Mothers. And you know who fucking well won. Captain Beefheart. Was he involved in that? Yeah, maybe. Captain Beefheart was the captain of Frank Zappa's fleet. I think there's a movie in that. Yeah. And gave us one of the most classic rock songs. And that was it. Yeah, Sweden is close to Norway and Finland. Switzerland is landlocked. Thank you, RP. I think Johnny, you know, coming from where he comes from is not very good with naval battle history things. You know, not saying that you can't be. Yeah, Frank Zappa was and is in fact a legend. He was a smart guy. He was attuned to things. I think he was one of the people who liked Devo when they first came out. You know, Devo is de-evolution, and that's what we're seeing. So I think that Devo was one of these artistic people way back when they pierced somehow the future, and they saw that we were moving into de-evolution. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing people afraid to speak their minds. We're seeing people deplatformed because they go against the mainstream media, and because they go against the government, and all the Karens are shrieking, and they're demanding you be shut down if you say anything they don't like. And we've got the heads of the Twitter sphere and the YouTube sphere, you know, destroying, you know, your income. And it's just insane now. And this is de-evolution. This is the new world disorder. And we see the rioting in the streets. Last week, I think I went up with, you know, some rioting down in, where was it, Chile. You know, this woman had to be prevented from self-harm by by soldiers. She was just rioting for food. Well, that's what you get when you're fucking hungry. And so, whatever else is true, whatever else is going to happen, whatever else is going to come, men got to be prepared. Men got to have some backup. Men got to know where they can go when the shit hits the fan, because the shit is hitting the fan right now, big time. And it's not over. Whatever anyone thinks, we're in a calm before a storm, I believe. And it is not that calm. And, we got riots in Houston, Minneapolis, Atlanta, Ohio. 4 dead in Ohio? I don't think so. Yeah. And I can't believe how police can defend remaining police anywhere in America now. I can't see how the chief of police of that police force didn't resign. There's no honor. There's no honor anymore. For God's sakes, man. Maybe it's a woman, I don't know, but take responsibility. Resign. Just do it. You can't control your men. Just resign. That's it. What are you doing? Where's decency? Where's honor? God's sakes, you blow it bad. You should have resigned. Just resign. In fact, this has got to stop. People have got to start taking responsibility for their actions or lack thereof. You can't control your men. You can't respect the Constitution of the United States of America. You got a friggin' problem. In Canada, that judge, probably resigned or retired now, but the guy attacks some 15-year-old kid with a crowbar and you let him off with a $500 fine. Oh, fuck you. This is nuts. A lot of people got jail time for a lot less. You pick up a crowbar and hit somebody in the head and you get a $500 fine and a conditional discharge. You are a monstrous maniac of a judge. You're insane. Yeah, I agree, RP. No, we're in a calm before a storm. You take away people's livelihood, you take away lawful action, and you let screaming Karens, who are most likely all taking psychiatric pills, determine your future, and you think there's not going to be a repercussion? You got the system of honor? Yes. There's going to be a repercussion. And we've seen that coming. We have seen the destruction of any sanity in this system. We've seen the removal of freedom. And we have seen the wholesale destruction of men and their lives. It's not like Mgtow is a canary in the coal mine. No way. Mgtow is the exit lines from that coal mine. It's the way out of that labyrinth of darkness and death into freedom, into sanity, into self-preservation. No, it's not telling people that something is about to happen. No, it's telling people that something is happening, and also that something worse is going to happen, because if this is happening, what else is happening? What else is being brewed underneath the surface? And we see what it is. It's police departments that don't take responsibility, chiefs of police that are cowards. When that UN, that wasn't UN, it was some commission that was set up by, I think it was by the Dutch government themselves. So one Dutch government set up a commission to find out why the Dutch troops during the Bosnian conflict stood aside and allowed some, I think it was Serbs, to go down into some Croatian village or something like that, or whatever it was, and massacre 400 people. So, yeah, the Dutch army, in order to, provide peace, allowed armed people to go down into a village and massacre a bunch of people. When it came out that the Dutch were criminally cowards, the Dutch government resigned. Now, I think they were asked again by the Queen to reestablish a government, And I think most of them did, or all of them did. Regardless, they resigned. They had the decency to resign. That was one of the most shameful acts in the 20th century. And it was obvious they should have resigned. And in this case, it's obvious that, there was murder, and the police lied about the murder. They said that this guy had resisted arrest when obviously he didn't. The video came out, so they were lying. So you got lying pieces of shit who murder on the streets, and they got guns and they got badges, and you don't resign as chief of police? You're a piece of shit. You're a coward. The chief of police should be in jail. I don't know for what. I think just for gross, horror to humanity. For God's sakes, man. You get paid the big bucks. That means you take the big responsibility. Anyone who lies to you? No. You don't have anyone who lies to you. What are you? Some sort of creep? Not that I'm a nasty man, but, if I'm in that position and you lie to me, you're getting my fucking fist in your face. That's it. In my fucking office. I don't give a shit. You fucking lie to me, you're getting my fist in, and then you're off. Until I say you're fucking back on. And hopefully you never come back to get the fucking message. And if your men don't fucking fear you, then you got a fucking problem in that job. And now we're finding out the police are, they're little cowardly Karen girls. Oh yeah, you can lie to me because that's how you were feeling today. You just had to tell me a little lie. Yeah, this is nuts. We're into some type of bizarre type of, girly group dynamics in police departments. So the guys with badges and guns can go out and do tyranny. Now, okay, maybe it doesn't happen as much as people say it does. The statistics aren't either good or bad. But it's tyranny nevertheless. It just takes a few of those. Yeah, Cybermonk. Yeah, they arrested him. They're going to charge him with murder. But at this point, they should just sue the whole police department and the mayor and everyone. They just sue them. Class action suit. This is a system that's out of control. This system that allows people to lie and get away with shit. How many times has somebody said, "Oh, I had to shoot him because he was resisting arrest and he wasn't." Now we know they lie now, and we knew they lied before. How many times do we have to be told this? They have too much power. And what was it? A forgery in process? What the fuck does that mean? A forgery in process? You can't do a fucking forgery in process. Now you can try to pass a forged bill or something like that, but what the fuck is that? Well, that's nothing. Fuck. I don't even know. That doesn't make any sense to me. And of course, you're not going to have this information released. What was the basis for the first arrest? A forgery in process? That's what I read. That makes no sense to me. Forgery is when you're carving some sort of thing on a machine to make false money or something. You're trying to pass forged currency. That's a different thing. Anyway, I'm gonna take a little bit of a break, and I think we'll do a little bit of music, and we'll put this on. And a fraud in progress. Yeah, what the fuck is that? A fraud in progress. Maybe there was some sort of fraud in progress. I don't know. Anyway, we'll play our music now, and I gotta run, and I'll be back in a sec.
Отлично, это было незабываемо.
Well, well, well. Had to run off and do something. And back. Need more music. Thanks, Bayman. Hope we enjoyed that. I like that. Drumming was in the background? Not quite sure. Anyway, welcome everyone to this week's Listening Post. And the situation now is that we need to listen ever more clearly. I'm not sure which direction we're going in. And is it towards more disorder or less disorder? And where is it going to happen? I'm not sure. And so I think information is key here. We are in an information war. And in this war, we've got the purveyors of misinformation and disinformation, CNN. They are now being openly attacked on the street, vandalized, as well as in real life, they are being shown to be liars, inveterate liars. These people are evil. And, but where this is going to take us, I don't know. In the long run, if we have no information about what's real, we have difficulty making decisions. However, I think Mgtow leads the way in that you look around you and you see what's real in the world. And that should be the guide going forward. That whatever you see in the world, that is a basis for action. And if you manage to make an action that prevents you from becoming a slave or imprisoned, that prevents you from dying prematurely, and prevents you from going insane, if you make those types of actions, then you are in truth. Then you have truth. And so, for all of what it means to be alive in the world, is that if you have truth, then you are not a slave, you are not in prison, you are not insane, and you are not dying needlessly too young. And so this is truth. So Mgtow is the direction for truth. And so, I don't know why these people are out attacking on the streets. I don't know whether this is going to lead to their premature death. It may well. And this may be risking things for no value. There may be better ways to do it. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But whatever the case is, hey, look at that. I put this picture up. It's a big picture of a squash growing in a tree. That was in my backyard. My God, there was a squash. And, it was a fairly sizable squash, growing on a tree. I'd been away for like a year and a half. It's still not good yet, but it's getting better. But, this is what you get in the tropics. Holy shit. See, things get out of hand. Things get out of hand. You don't know what's going on. And what we're looking at is we have modern systems. They need modern controls. And if you're going to abandon modern science, you're not going to have these. And that's what we see. We see that the World Health Organization has abandoned modern science. Nothing in their statement in the declaration of the pandemic referred to modern science. These people are anti-science. They are feeling-based. They are believing communist governments when they speak. And as we know, when the USSR fell, they all came out and said, yeah, we were lying. They were all lying. They were lying almost all the time. You know, they said something true once in a while, but no, they were just lying because they were afraid. And that's what it is. Without free speech, you have fear. And I refuse to be afraid. I'm going to say what I fucking well want to say. And that's it. And you bastards, you evil pricks at YouTube, you bastards and evil pricks at Google and Twitter and Facebook, all of you. You are horrible, maniacally evil. You are trying to destroy the greatness that has been made by this civilization. And you're going to get your just desserts, and I hope it's a noose. I hope someone has the decency to take you to court and to put that noose around your neck. All of you. And all you insane people, just shut the fuck up. You know, I don't know what it is. How many teachers in elementary school are insane? And do you allow your children to be taught by insane people, and you think that's good? The insane should tell the sane what to do. Just think about that statement for a minute. The insane should tell the sane what to do. This is nuts. You know, you just can't have it. You cannot have it. Now, you want to listen to the insane. You know, occasionally they say something sensible. Sure, clock is right twice a day, whatever. But no, you can't do what an insane person says. You know, I'm sorry you're insane. It's probably self-created, because there certainly wasn't this many insane people, 200 years ago. And those who were insane, you knew they were insane. And, sometimes they were kept in horrible situations. Okay, bad, okay, admit that. But there's something better than letting the inmates rule the asylum. And ultimately, if you're taking psychiatric pills, shut the fuck up. Just try to get yourself better. Just take some time off, figure out why you're driving yourself nuts, and then stop it. Yeah, there's that picture of the squash in the tree. Yeah, that's got to be like a 4-pound squash or something. It just climbed, the vine climbed up the tree. Or maybe, the vine was on the ground and the tree grew up and pulling the vine up with it. I don't know how it worked. I wasn't here. I thought it was funny when I saw it. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a badge of honor, Aaron Rubin. Those female teachers never liked me. That's it. Yeah, too much to deal with. Exactly. You're a boy. They're fucking women. They don't understand. Little boys like to push the envelope, and that's what it's all about. Pushing the envelope. And Mgtow recommends young men, old men, all men, push the envelope. Go that extra direction. Figure out which direction it is and push the envelope a bit. And sometimes you don't push the envelope. Sometimes you just sit back and relax and let it all wash over. And then, something happens as a result of that. There's a regrouping. And there's a pacing to life. And I got to say, I'm getting better at PUBG. It's taken a while for the reflexes and tactics to come in. And I know I'm playing against, like 15-year-old kids who've been playing these types of games since they were 7. And so it's somehow inborn to them. Okay, I get that. But I'll get pretty good. But I notice now that there's a pacing to it. And the better players pace. So sometimes you push forward, and other times, you regroup. And I think the same thing is true for life. And currently, I think that, you want to suss out your situation. And if you're in the mood personally to push ahead, because there's ways to benefit from this crisis. It's not like you should hide out. No. Survivability, sustainability does not mean hiding. At least all the time. Sometimes, sure. but there may be a way to go forward. And I'm thinking very, very clearly that there is no evidence to suggest that the SARS-2 virus causes any illness at all. Certainly not a COVID-19 illness with its 16 or 14 or 22 symptoms. And so if you take a job that requires some sort of, danger pay, well, look at the stats and make your own choice. But the stats are that no one, even the CDC admits no one under 19 has died. And that just tells me no one has died. There's no modern science to make a cause and effect link. The people who announced this pandemic, they declared a pandemic and no one came, were the WHO, and they were doing it on the basis of testimony from Communist Party members in China. Need I say more? Do I have to say more? Americans, Donald Trump, I think, wanted to play this up and get some brownie points with China, but I think it backfired a bit. I think that the power differential between China and America is lower. China's gone down substantially. America's gone down. If it goes down the same amount, it's gone down more as a percentage. And so what we're looking at is Iran and China win, America loses. But we'll have to see what happens, whether Americans wake up and whether Americans can, get some benefit out of this and pull down the tyranny which is being constructed around them, and to demand accountability from all the tyrants, to hopefully take Lion and Mgtow's advice and to stop the rioting and grab a lawyer. And my advice was to initiate a class action lawsuit and just wash qualified immunity out of the door, get rid of color of law, and just attack these people in the courts for their violation of the Constitution. Up and down. These governors who lock down people have violated the Constitution. So this is a way for America to move forward. And if America moves in this direction, the rest of the free world will also breathe a sigh of relief. Certainly Canada is not big enough and not, powerful enough and not great in this way to move in this direction. It can certainly support movements in any direction, but, our great Prime Minister was great in both directions. Pierre Elliott Trudeau was great, but he was great in both directions. Did great evil and did great good. And I don't even know the good he did, but, he said to get out of the bedrooms of people, and the next thing you know, the government's in the bedrooms. Taking men and destroying them. And so that's how that played out. Yep, I'm a synthesist. I used to be professional, toured across Canada, played a lot of, a fair number, not a lot, but a fair number of CDs and stuff. I don't know. I had a little trouble pandemic setting up the system at the beginning, and I don't know what's going to happen. I'm still calming down from the whole thing and other things. And a hectic week, I have to say, especially the end of the week. And it was a bit of a race to get up, to tell you the truth. But I made it up on time, and then I had a technical issue, and then I had to restart. But I was here on time. Anyway, it's hard living in a place where you don't know the day of the week, really. You don't know the day of the week. Every day is the same. It's just, every day is the same. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm seeing stuff, Forrest Burns. I'm seeing that. I'm seeing China's digging a hole for itself. It's digging a hole for itself. It has thrived. I studied economics. I have a minor degree in economics from the early 1980s. And that was the Deng Xiaoping era, right? And it was, communism with capitalist characteristics or something like that, they called it. And they started exporting, to the United States. And, the discussion at the time, you read it in the economic books, was that, okay, the income of the Chinese would rise to middle class, and then they would demand the freedoms of a middle class bourgeoisie society, and then the wage differential will close, and everyone will be happy. But that didn't happen. What happened was that they continued with the vicious, tyrannical government. The wages are locked in at $1 a day, and there is no way that they can now escape it. They're even doubling down with their social credit system, which is anathema to anyone with any brains at all, and is highly dangerous even to China. Then, in addition, they've done these horrible crackdowns on religious groups, the Christians, that Buddhist meditation sect, and now they send Muslims to re-education camps and make them eat pig. This is horrible. Then they mess up this Wuhan lab and create some type of probably engineered some type of virus and escaped. Then they freak out and think there's a cause and effect relationship when there wasn't. And then it's spread around the world, likely that there is something that goes around, but it's not making anyone ill, because there's no consistency in any of the symptoms, and there's no scientific evidence to show that there is a connection. It's just everyone gets this thing, apparently. But then again, you look at something like lactobacillus, which is a bacteria, and we've all got it, and it doesn't make us sick. And there's thousands of these microorganisms that exist in our bodies and don't make us sick. And we might have them our whole life, and they don't make us sick. And they go from one person to the other, and it doesn't matter. And this is what our body does. And maybe our body makes an antibody to it or whatever, and it's there, and it can be registered and whatever. But the problem is with Karens that they hear this and they don't know. Somebody was talking about E. coli the other day, and I said, well, fuck, I don't care about E. coli. I just care about the dangerous ones. There's apparently 12 different ones, and 8 of them are dangerous and 4 of them are not. And of the 8, they range in danger. Only a couple of them are like death-causing, I guess. So, you want to check that out. And, somebody talks about E. coli in your water. Well, that doesn't fucking mean anything. Which kind is it? Is it the kind that makes me sick or the kind that doesn't? Come on. Give me some usable information. Stop trying to, gaslight me. So, okay. Well, maybe I'll do that then. Let me get up. Okay. Yeah, okay. Let me get in here. Hold on. Okay, I think I'm there. John, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I hear something. Hello. So, I jumped into Discord. And, I see the green light. John, speak.
Second.
Yeah, turn up your volume. A lot. Turn up your volume. Or maybe it's me, actually. Turn up my volume. Got my headphones on now. I can hear. Yeah, China sucks. China is I don't think they came up with a sustainable system. So, in all that I said, they're just going down the tubes. I don't even think the Chinese like it anymore. They're happy with the little bit of wealth they have. And what you see is a lot of poor people and a whole bunch of billionaires making, huge amounts of money. And making a lot of people, live on $1 a day. All I hear is like a bashing around. It's like he's typing or something. Are you typing? What the hell are you doing, John?
Excuse me.
Oh, excuse me. That's sweet. That's lovely. Okay, then. Yeah, Aaron. Pandemic is German. We know him from other labels. He's been on the channel for a few years now.
3 years, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
I,
3 years. Sure.
I stepped into you, I think, 2017,
Wow.
I think.
Yeah, maybe. I've lost.
When this was the when Mgtow was on the peak, I think.
No way, man. Mgtow is not yet peaked. It's still going up and up and up. And yeah, they attack.
No, yeah, but at the moment the black pill is peaking.
Oh, you
The
think
incel, the
no.
incel and the incel and the black pill channels are peaking. Mgtow is not peaking at the moment.
Oh, you don't think it's peaking? Let me check on this. I'll check this out and
And you have the undercover dating coaches that they call themselves red pillars.
yeah, the red pillar.
That is even bigger than Mgtow. I think the audience can confirm it.
Yeah. No, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing just what you said. I'm looking at Google Trends right now. Incel. It seemed to have. Oh, let's pass 7 days. Let's take a look at the past 5 years. There we go.
The audience calls me Werner Herzog, the producer from this crazy German guy.
I don't know. Anyway,
Um,
yeah. Let me see. I'll just get a whoops screenshot here. Whoops. There we go. Okay. Yeah. No. Incel is has risen above Mgtow. Like a couple years ago. That's because they killed people. I guess.
do you know that Elliot Rogers was no real incel? This guy who killed some women?
He wasn't. What was
His,
he?
he was a son of a famous Hollywood movie producer, and his father bought him a BMW Cabrio,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he offered him, if he can't get laid, he pays him the escorts. But he refused because his son said, I want real connection to women.
Yeah.
And then he made this mass shooting, this idiot. And instead taking the money and buying some hot $1,000 hookahs, this idiot.
Yeah. No, that's right. You should have taken the money. So I just did a search on the past 5 years. Incel in blue versus Mgtow in red, and Mgtow is pretty steady. We're seeing growth up and down a bit, and suddenly Incel spikes way high because of those killings. I don't know which one, maybe the Florida killing or something. And then, yeah, you're right. Incel is, I guess it's more exciting because they do stuff. And Mgtow is Mgtow Ghost level 4. And I think this is the best place.
Google tells the truth. Google statistics.
Oh, okay. Tells the truth? I don't know that. What is it?
No, I mean the statistics, the site accesses. How many people search for Mgtow, search for black pill, search for red pill? You know?
Yeah. No, I'm doing up on the screen right now. I've got Incel.
That's their business to log on traffic. You know, they make money with it. What the people are looking for.
Yeah. No, I did a search on Google Trends, so maybe I'll do one on black pill. Yeah, Mgtow is above black pill here, so black pill hasn't caught on yet. So.
And I think if you searching for PUA, it's flattened out. PUA is died.
Yeah. PUA's died. So
it has flattened the curve. It's zero.
So let me see if I can put this one up here and.
gentlemen. How you doing tonight? Am I coming in
Hey,
okay?
you're coming in loud and clear. Who's this?
All right, Mgtow Smurf, look at your screen.
Yeah, I can't. I'm doing something else at the moment, but there we go. I've got Black Pill versus Mgtow on a Google trend search, and Mgtow is above Black Pill consistently
Sure.
For the last 4 years anyway. There's one spike for Black Pill way back, and it looks like 2016 or something. But incel, yeah. Those incels, my God, they're pathetic. Stop being pussy worshippers and get a life. Anyway, Mgtow Smurf, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are y'all doing tonight? I'm glad to be here, and I really appreciate you doing this broadcast every Friday night. I'll always look forward to it.
Well, excellent. Thank you for that, and it's always wonderful being here. And keeps us all sane, I think.
I think so too. Not only does it keep us sane, it keeps us informed, and it keeps us entertained.
Excellent. Excellent. Good. So are there any disturbances around your area?
No, it's been really quiet here.
Nice.
Except there was, I think they had a little protest in Houston today, but the police squashed it. They kept it from getting out of control.
Yeah.
And that's about 45 miles south of where I live.
I see. Yeah, I don't think we want to see any disposability of men. We want men to wake up and be smart. Do this smart.
That's right. Ghost level 4. Keep your head down, mind your own business, enjoy your life.
Yep. And if you can do some friction in the system, keeping your head down and all that, do it. But apparently, Johnny, Smurf's from further west than that, way further west. So
The newest thing is that chat lights come on incel streams and ask incels for advice why Stacy don't want to bang with them again.
Chad lights.
Yeah,
I like that.
because it's the sexual market is so hard that even chat light can get not laid like before.
Oh yeah, no, it's a mess. You know, what is it? They're up
And
on.
they ask insults or low value men, what do I wrong? What do I wrong?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, when incels become dating coaches, you know things are really fucked up. Holy shit. Yeah, but at this point, the coronavirus scare did put a scare into people. Now they know they're swapping all sorts of bodily fluids, and maybe it's just not worth it.
Well, I'm no incel. I figured that myself out. I did not need dating coaches for it. I made trial and error. It took some time, but I'm not a playboy, but once in a while I get laid, so I'm no incel.
Yeah, well, at this point, I don't think incels are incels, to tell you the truth. What there is a gynocentric system in which women have, they become sluts, and they will, hit the wall, and then there'll be cat ladies. And this is not a natural way. And yeah, they go for, men with a high aggregate bundle of resources, and they can just play it. And that's what it is. And if they fuck up, then the government's there to support them. And where does the government get its money? From the incels. So it's a system that's making men with regular, and we're talking regular aggregate bundles of resources. Not low, not wanting in every possible way, but just regular bundles of aggregate resources. These men are being passed over. These are the incels as regular guys. And so, unless you got $1 million, unless you're willing to send some money on a social media site, women just want attention, and that's it. They're attention hounds, and if they screw up, the government's there to be the husband.
Yeah, you have different kind of insults. If you play 20 years only World of Warcraft and do not go out on Fridays and Saturdays when the chicks are partying, then the result is you stay in incel. The other opportunity is you try your best with your looks and your status, and you go out, and maybe you bang a fatty, then you are no incel anymore. But they have to choose. I have
No, they
incel
don't.
friends, then they never go out on the weekend. So what should change?
Nothing
Except
should
they
change.
book
Nothing should.
except they book a hooker, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
E-
Hey,
Even
BJP.
even I was not good looking in my 20s, and some fat chicks approached me at the bar, and we had some wild sex in the woods, you know? And she was a 3 or 4 or 5, don't matter, we had great sex, you know? And incel miss that when they only play their computer games, you know? Yeah, I call myself a low tier normie, and I was like an
Yeah, what were you gonna?
incel.
Yeah, what were you gonna say,
Hmm?
Mgtow Smurf? Mgtow Smurf. What were you gonna say?
I said PJP just joined the room, but he's got his mic muted. So
Oh, I see,
Greetings,
PJP.
gentlemen.
Hey,
Greetings. How are we all?
I don't know. How are you doing? Great.
I'm doing really well, guys. I just sort of jump into the chat here and just
there he is. He turned his mic off. Hello, PJP.
can you hear me,
Yes, we can.
Smurf?
Yes, loud and clear. You have the loudest microphone.
I'm
So-
like that. I got the alpha mic, bruh. Alpha in
Woohoo!
this shit.
Woohoo!
You have an expensive microphone. I hear that.
No, it's just a
I'm
Logitech headset.
What? And this quality?
Ah.
But you,
That's how I roll, bruh. That's how I roll.
That's
you
my mic. Is it
hardcore
loud enough or too loud?
alpha.
I can hear you, Smurf, but I don't think you can hear me. I'm not sure what's happening there.
This is no Logitech headset. You lying to us.
No,
You
I
have-
wouldn't lie to you, bro. I got nothing to gain from it. If I had something to
Yeah.
gain from it, yeah, I'd probably lie. But you know,
You play the poor bastard. You have a $500,000 studio behind you.
shit. Is my camera on? Shit.
Yeah, you are undercover superstar with a digital studio like Quincy Jones and play the basement dweller. I know this game.
Yeah. Well,
You got me, bro. You got me.
You're a famous musician, but you are undercover and anonymous.
yeah. Yeah, we could all be famous undercover. There we are. This is it. Why, it doesn't matter who one is. It matters what one says and what one does. That's it.
He is too well spoken to be a non guy. This guy is someone we all know, I think.
Oh, we're a little mystery now. Who in the hell are you, PJP? Whoops. I did the clicky thing again. I'm sorry. I was clicking, and I didn't know I was clicking.
Track his IP address, then you know it.
So what's happening, lads? What are we all talking about? What's been going on?
Well-
I heard incels before. Are we talking about incels?
Well, we were, and incels are now, I'll put it up on the screen again. They're rising above Mgtow in terms of search results at Google.
Oh, tell me about it. I know I've noticed an upsurge in. I don't know if it's incels or people who are just conscribing to it because they're still on a sort of self-discovery journey. But yeah, there's definitely a very big sort of surge in it. I've noticed that just in my searching of content of, in my lurks, my lurkulations.
Yeah, and I got the chart up now if you want to take a look, but it spiked there in late 2017 or early 2018, and then it's been slightly above Mgtow, rising and falling a lot. So what in the hell is going on?
I think it's an approved vernacular, it's an approved terminology because it does belittle men. So I think it's something that's sort of been pushed to the forefront above other terms, other more palatable ways to describe men that may have withdrawn from society or are still discovering the reason why they are being shunned by the hordes of thoughts that are on the search for the alpha Chad and the beta billions. It's a funny time.
Oh no, that's a great evaluation. That it belittles men, and so it's approved. There we go.
Prune Just Power. Which of the Gallagher brothers are you from Oasis? I recognize the voice.
Yeah.
Don't be like that, bro. I'm not a man of mystery.
Sorry, I doxed you.
Truth's out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Oh,
I didn't believe that Australian accent anyway. You're really a Brit pretending to be an Australian. We know.
I can't even do another accent to play into that, to play along. So yeah, I'm just me. I'm just everyday guy.
Well, I don't know. I think we should bring Mgtow Smurf in for the expert on the accents. What are you saying, Mgtow Smurf? You think BJP's really an Aussie?
No, I have no idea.
See? We don't know anymore, BJP. You're a man of mystery. Yeah. It's a new buzzword, and it's an approved buzzword. And maybe now it's time to go out and do some recruiting. Let these men know. You know, when Pandemic said that hanging out in the on the weekends for 20 years, well, that's what I did. That's what I did in the West. So didn't hurt me none. And I'm not going to say I was an incel because I had a large aggregate bundle of resources, and that was part of the reason why I hid in the basement. And then I got out. So the incels are not men lacking. In fact, even if you got difficulties in one area, you can have strengths in another area. But the government's removed any strengths. So the only thing you got is a little bit of cash to give the e-thoughts on their channels. And, if you got, lots of money, okay, sure. But, the trouble is a 50-year-old man's got lots of money compared to a 20-year-old man, normally. And so he gets what he wants. And the woman doesn't care. She just wants the money.
Well, have you heard how, like, in these various groups that are getting around Pandemic, I actually seen you on one of the channels last week. You were talking to a bunch of guys that kind of remind me of like a bunch of incel whisperers, I guess. They're trying to appeal to the incels, and but I've noticed that the vernacular is actually, it's diverged and it's become more abstract, I guess, in that they've dissected it and pulled the abbreviation, the shortened term incel, and they've expanded on it into what it actually means, and they've taken the second part of it and added a different qualifier to it. So there's the incel, then there's the old cell, then there's the poor cell, and it's actually getting to the point where it's getting a little bit ridiculous. But yeah, it's getting a little bit out of control, to be honest, and I don't know whether it's a narrative that needs to be reined back in with a bit of truth and a bit more honesty, or whether there is some credence to the path they're going down. But it's definitely something I've been very interested in the last couple of weeks.
So with the term poor cell, is that implying that it's an incel who is an incel because they are poor?
Yes.
And so they take, let's say, each of the valuables in that aggregate basket of resources that men have, and wherever you're lacking, if you're lacking enough in that, then they label you that cell, like ugly cell or bald cell.
I think I don't think they've been labelled. I think they're conscribing to it, and that's the part I'm a little bit confused about. Like, it's sort of a self-identification that I guess gives credence to their personal situation or validation to their personal situation, but whether or not it's overly self-deprecating, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, self-labeling.
You see where I'm going?
Yeah, what's that great word? Conscribe to it. So they want to put this label on themselves. They want to mark themselves. It's like they give themselves a tattoo of shame.
And they're proud of it. I think it's some kind of sense of pride that they find in it, that they feel like they've found their place or they know their place, which I don't know if that's healthy.
Oh, I definitely think it's not healthy. Not healthy at all.
It's so fast. this week there was a fraud that in the American black pill, they unmasked some gay dudes who like to have some incel straight dudes. Yeah. So there are gay incels, or maybe not gay incels. They like to seduce straight incels.
Yes, they get off on the what's the word I'm looking for? Violating their heterosexuality. They get off on it. I know
Yeah.
trannies do that too.
Ooh.
Their topic is, if you can get no woman, I'll fuck you. That's their topic.
Yeah. No, this is bad. Yeah.
Dear, oh dear.
So they get the offer, stay incel, or you get a big bang in your ass.
No woman? Oh, you're fucked. Take them pants off.
Yeah,
Oh, that's terrible.
forget woman, let me fuck you.
Yeah. No, I don't like
Jesus.
this. You know, I'm looking at the
Jesus.
Yeah, I
incel.
don't like this either, but
The,
gay not so hot gays infiltrate the black pill at the moment. Maybe the Mgtow scene as well.
Yes,
no.
and that's another topic I'd like to talk about too. Is there seems to be an upsurge in labelling the Mgtow men as homosexuals, or undercover gays, or closet gays and stuff like that. That's something I've noticed as well. It's a little bit bizarre that like people think they've hacked the Matrix and they've discovered the hidden Da Vinci Code. They're actually gay.
Really?
No,
Yeah.
I think Mgtow men have been labeled just about every name in the book, but
Yeah.
actually, I believe that real Mgtow men are exactly as we portray ourselves. You asked me earlier what I thought of PJP, and I've thought about that, and I reiterate, I think PJP is an outstanding man, and he is exactly who he portrays himself to be.
Yep. I agree.
Amen, brother.
Yep. Yep. No, Mgtow men have been labeled a whole bunch of things, and it's it's not an official term because Mgtow men are not vulnerable. They're not vulnerable like incel men are, and that's why incel men should be brought to Mgtow. I believe that they are valuable men, and they have value, internal value, and that they wish to put some sort of negative label on themselves and wear it like a badge of honor. No, this is not a good path to go down.
I think that one of our goals is to teach all men the truth and show them the path and let them choose their own path. And we would hope that they would choose to be Mgtow.
Yep.
Whatever degree of Mgtow they would like to be. If they would like to be a married Mgtow, at least they would know the truth. If they would still like to date, put their toe in the dating pool. If they would like to go get a prostitute or whatever, I'm not going to judge anybody, but at least they should know the truth and should at least have their eyes wide open as to which path they would want to take.
Yep.
Every man chooses his own path.
And it is a hard sort of thing for a lot of us to sort of sit back patiently and hope that people arrive at that destination, because there isn't really sort of any way to speed up the process. It has to be at their own pace and their own time, and it has to be of sort of their own free choice. And you would hope that they'd come to that conclusion. But it can be a little bit frustrating, I guess, at times to sit back and watch and hope for the best.
No, exactly.
So,
I agree with that. I agree 100%. Yeah, it is frustrating sometimes when you show somebody the right way to go and the right way to live. The only thing you can do is live with truth and integrity and honesty, and hope that they will see you as some sort of a master to follow, or not necessarily put myself at that level, but at least they would say, well, this looks like it might be the right way, but you can't do anything to kick them along the path. It's like trying to pull a butterfly out of a cocoon. You've got to let him fight his own way out, otherwise he'll never develop.
That's right. Yeah, great analogy.
My idea is the male virgins have first to unlock the their virginity. So if they go to a hooker or have some random sex with a not so pretty girl, that's their first step. And then if they learn about female nature, then they can decide if they stay monk. I think
No, they got
the
to learn.
idea.
They got to learn about the legal system, because it's not about women and women's nature. Although that's part of it. It's the whole system.
But I think if you're an incel and go Mgtow monk, that's the wrong way. You have to first experience
No,
sexual
no, they do
encounters
not.
with women.
No, they do not. Definitely not. They don't have to do anything. They go their own way. And
No, you had sex with women and you choose the way of being a monk. But if you tell that an incel guy who is a virgin, he always would have this craving to get a pussy.
then he's going his own way. But if he doesn't have the craving, you don't make him do
Yeah,
it. He
but
goes his
you
own
had
way.
but you had pussy and you had the experience to pay the price. But the incels.
No. There's no price to pay. If there's a price to pay, you don't want to do it. That's the whole thing. You don't want to pay that price. If you don't have the craving, you don't have to do it. If you have the craving, well, then maybe you want to do it.
But Mgtow values, if you never had sex, you crave for it.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Maybe you do, but you don't have a craving. No way. No, there's a whole lot of men out there never had sex, no problem. They don't have to prove anything.
I think a craving for it's probably. I think it's more of an obsession with the unknown. I think that's probably the. It is a kind of a. I see the point you're trying to make there, and there's probably a bigger discussion to have about that, because it really is hard to have a discussion with men about the troubles that you'll go through in life, especially anything that sort of relates to female nature, until they've sort of made a leap across to sort of understand the trap of the pleasure of sex, and if they haven't had it, they sort of don't understand the trap that it can represent and present itself to men with. So, I mean, there's probably a bit of a discussion to be had about that, but at the same time, like it's something that they don't need, but it's hard to get them to understand that if they're obsessed with it. So whether or not it's, they do the introspection and they go down the harder path of trying to work it out without the personal insight, or whether they have a baptism of fire to sort of push through that living through. I'm not too sure whether either one is neither better or worse, but I do see the point you're making, though. Especially younger men, like very, very younger, almost young teenagers, it'll be very hard to have a conversation with them about that, this type of stuff, because they're going to be absolutely obsessed with it, and they're not going to understand at all why.
I'll tell them, part of why they're obsessed about it is because the gynocentric system makes it that way. The advertisements, the movies, everything from Madison Avenue advertisers is geared towards selling sex, because sex sells. That's the first rule of marketing. And so that's why they're getting this obsession. Yeah, curiosity is one thing. The biological urge is another. But the obsession, this is what, get control of yourself. Stop letting other people control you. And maybe you want it, so you go out. And maybe you don't, so you don't. But don't turn a curiosity into an obsession. The purpose of this is biological, to have kids. That's it. And
you're breaking up a bit, bro. Is anyone else hearing that?
Yes, he is a robot now.
I'm a robot? Jesus. Sorry about that.
No, I mean, your audio was lacking and you had this digital artifact.
He wasn't calling your names, bro. It's like literally.
Yeah, I know that. I got that. I'm wondering whether that digital came out in the stream or whether it's just in the Discord. Anyway, I'll find out from the stream.
Probably just the Discord. I've found most times it's only here that it shines through. That's a problem.
I see.
Yeah, the channel itself generally has worked out fairly well in the past. So
yeah, I think
just for a bit of FYI.
Yeah, I think thanks for the FYI. I think I'm going out direct to the channel and then direct to the Discord and then through the Discord into the channel. I think that's the way I work.
But Mgtow value, let me speak again. It's not good idea that a male virgin goes directly to Mgtow. It's not good concept.
I don't see any problem. No problem.
Then we have an opinion. I think he has at least to make one or two bad experiences with women to go Mgtow monk.
I definitely think that he doesn't have to have any bad experiences, because one bad experience is enough to put him in jail, and one bad experience is enough to destroy his future earning capability. No, and fundamentally, it's not for me to tell him how to live his life. He makes his own choice. So that's what I'm saying.
I think a good point to sort of put there as well is that I think it's a very valid thing that that pandemic's saying in a world without radicalized feminism and misandry and male hate. I think it's a fair enough point, but sex in itself is a high risk activity. Pregnancy, STDs, and all that kind of thing. But then you add everything else on top of it, and so that's where I would lean towards where MV's going with the points he's making. But I think in a world in a pre-postmodern world, I think you make some good points too, pandemic. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I would agree that if there's a drive and you're focused on it, go to Vegas or leave the country. I've recommended that before. Take care of it, find out. But
yeah, maybe this is American focus. I think Polish girls, France girls, German girls, Austrian girls. The thing is, they never accused me of rape.
Yet.
Yeah, in the past.
They
just left because I was not on their chat level,
Yeah. But no, it's dangerous and okay. But young men don't have to prove anything to anyone, not even to themselves.
But you may be right, because I'm not speaking about the last 5 years. Everything has changed.
Well, yeah.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't recognize this world.
My last bang is some years ago, so maybe you are right. But I'm speaking about my experiences from the last 25 years,
I agree with Monk Music. There is no one way to stay safe. Stay safe. That's it. There is it. I agree. Find your own way to stay safe and do it.
But at least the young dudes have to go to a hookah if they're still virgin.
Yeah, if they want to. If they don't. But if they do.
No, then they don't have to. But
yeah, if they
want
to do it.
To unmask this myth of the vagina.
Yeah, that's right. To unmask the myth. I like that. That's a beautiful line.
Because a hooker has a timer, and if you don't come, it's your fault. I have 30 minutes, now go. I have my next customer.
Yeah.
And then they know, and then they see that vagina is just an asset, what is traded to the man.
Yeah, prostitution is a very contentious topic, and it definitely has its uses. And I do like to think, like a lot of men, that you don't pay them to stay, you pay them to go away, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's it.
During the pandemic, do you know how many girls went OnlyFans and cam girls to make a quick buck? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they do make a lot of money. They build mansions.
I'm a social engineer. I went this evening to a chatterbait. There was a German girl, a fatty. Okay, I would bang her. She had 600 dudes on her stream donating tokens. Yeah.
No, this is sick. This is sick talk.
Yeah, that always.
She had a nice face, but she was 60 pounds overweight. She still had suffering betas donating tokens. Yeah, I didn't wank to her. This was a social experiment. Yeah, and she has a boyfriend or how do you say in English? She has how do you say it when you are not married but you're given to some dude? There's a special term. In
En-
Germany, we say Verlobung.
Engaged or something? Engaged to be married?
Engaged, yeah,
Yeah.
and she still shows her pussy to 400 other dudes. And she now moves out to Teneriffa, financed from her dude, you know.
Oh my
And she,
God.
yeah, and she still shows her pussy to her OnlyFans, you know.
Because there's so much money to be made. Like that's the thing about it, is that while there's money to be made doing it, they'll do it.
That's right.
And the men in their relationships are basically, acting as pimps to whore them out for the extra cash revenue that comes from it.
Yeah, maybe.
I,
Yeah.
I checked her balance today. She has not made that big money. She had made like $40 streaming 8 hours, and she still shows her pussy to a crowd. You know.
$40 is good money for a land whale. That's good money.
Okay. Yeah. I see it as I see it as someone who comes from the economic side. It's $1,200 tax free, because most of the camp girls are not tracked by the IRS. They make this cash, you know. They don't pay taxes.
Yeah, that's another problem that a lot of men have an issue with too, especially once they realise that their heart's broken because they found out that the woman that they thought that they were basically bribing into giving them attention all of a sudden has a boyfriend, and they get hostile and angry and they lash out. The first thing they do is try to use that to as a way to take them down or to hurt or harm them, because it is true what they're doing isn't what you would call financially legit. But yeah, I really don't like that idea though. The how much money that they do make, and they don't pay any taxes collectively, not individually, but just as a collective, how much money is made in that business model that they have. But it's always funny to see how it bites them in the foot, and basically they're doing something illegal, and they're appealing to people's emotions, and they're manipulating people, and then they wonder why they get shut down and reported to the IRS when the people that they're manipulating come out of their trance, come out of their coma, and they're angry.
It's crazy. Some of these chem whores can sell their bathwater 1 gallon for $100 to desperate men, and they ship their gallon of bath water to desperate men. Yeah. Did you know that? They have their OnlyFans, and they have their shopping system, and they offer like used underwear and their bath water, and they I know 2-3 girls. They made in 2 years, they could pay a mansion cash out of the money from desperate men.
Yeah, I know. Belle Delphine, I think she was the one that really started the bathwater trend. She made an absolute bucket load of money out of that. It was ridiculous. I don't know what people plan to do with used bathwater. I don't know exactly the utility they'll find from that, but they're definitely paying for it, and that's how it all just gets out of control. Like, they'll start selling the hair out of their brush that they brush their hair with every morning.
Yes.
It's crazy. And it's working. I don't know why men are buying into it, but they are. Well, I do know why, but I don't know why they continue to do it. And they don't feel some kind of sense of pity for themselves and depression from the lack of dignity that they have in their behavior. But that's the world we live in. Welcome to Clown World.
I come from another generation. I rather bang a land whale after having some drinks in the bar.
I don't think we want to. Who cares? We don't care. one way or the other. What we got is a new source of protein or something. The Baron Exile has a new industry he wants to pursue, the harpooning of land whales. Yeah, no thanks, Whiskey. That's a nice idea, but no, way too cheap. Yeah.
Do me a favor, because I haven't got the chat up. Just read the comments out as you're saying. Can you do me that favor?
Yeah, no problem at all. Who was it? Baron Exile. He said maybe somebody has a fantasy involving a harpoon on a comment about land whales. So, and then Whiskey was saying, anyone want to buy my nut juice? $10.
Oh, jeez, bro! Dang.
I know. I didn't want to read it out, to tell you the truth. Clearance sale.
Shit.
Hey, listen.
Google.
I might want to buy it, in the middle of winter when I'm starving to death. But squirrels. I'd rather just get the nuts.
Yeah, no, that's too euphemistic for me. No, I think you can keep your nuts.
Yeah, keep your nuts. Yeah. And we got a comment here by Mgtow Smurf. He says he has free Mgtow stickers. Send me a mailing address only, mgtowsmurf@gmail.com. So, nice.
But Mgtow values in the 80s, you have been shed light. You had, I think, no problem with getting the poon, I think.
Yeah, no, I was Chad Light. I had a fairly large bundle of aggregate resources. And then I got to thinking that, no, if I saw men around me being eviscerated by the courts and by women, it was take him for everything he has. That was the mantra of a lot of women in my circle of friends and the circle of friends of my parents. And I got to know the law that the woman would be entitled to 50% of my resources, the day after I married her. And she would take the kids, and I saw all sorts of disasters, so I said no.
And that's back in the days when it was probably, more like, 50% of your assets was actually probably more accurate. Now it's just used as a loose term to basically mean, it's going to be upwards to about 80%. He's going to take your house, your car, and you're going to have to pay all the mortgage, all the bills. You're going to be left homeless and broke. Yep.
And so back then it's worse now. I agree. Everything PJP just said, it's worse now. So that was it. So, I got lucky. It was smart lucky. And when I thought I would win, I thought about it and said, I'm going to lose. I'm risk averse. I don't like risk like that. And so I didn't do it.
But Mgtow values, you managed it the last 50 years or 57 years.
Yeah, but for 15 years,
you never have been rape divorced, or am I wrong?
No, after I graduated university, I sort of went into the basement and played video games for 15 years. And
I mean, no woman rape divorce you and take all of your money.
Yeah, because I left the West in 1997, and before that, I was in my basement playing video games and going to university and doing other stuff. But no, I wasn't out chasing women, so I was safe. I got out.
Which video games you played? I was a video gamer too in the 90s.
Yeah, well, back then I used to play Civ. I used to be right into Civ. I played Civ 1, Civ 2. Yeah. And that was great fun. I think I played some others like
on which platform? Amiga or
Commodore?
Oh no, it wouldn't have been an Amiga. It was probably Windows.
Also, the first Pentium processors.
Yeah. 83, 86, I think. 83, 86.
I see.
Yeah, back then.
When you was happy to have 1 megabyte of graphic card. I remember those times.
Yeah. That was expensive. 1 megabyte was expensive.
Expensive as fuck. For this graphic cards, you can today buy a gamer PC complete.
Yeah, I haven't played Civ in a while. Then I got into playing Rome a bit and played Cleopatra. I liked those games. And then I didn't do anything for a long time. No games until PUBG. So.
How you had the idea to move out from your home country to going out far away?
What's that? One more
What
time?
was what was the impulse to move to getting an expat?
Oh, I see.
I don't like to dox you, but
Yeah, no,
what
no.
was the impulse?
Well, I left. I left to do a Master of Philosophy in India. So I was looking at going to this university. I thought I'd check it out first, and so I went to India to do an MPhil, and it didn't work out. The university, it didn't look great, so I didn't go, and I just traveled around the world for a while longer. For another year and a half or a year or so, and then I wound up, where I am now.
And how you find out that this place was the right place for you? How did you manage it?
Oh, well, I looked at the situation, and I had a good job, and it just they treated me differently, and I wasn't quite used to it, to tell you the truth. But this is like my 15th third world country, so I've been around the world a couple of times. So
this story I want to know, because I think a lot of dudes in the stream want to move out of their home country to find another life,
Yeah.
And they can benefit from your experience, because
Well, maybe so. I don't recommend it. There's no
because
the hand phones are everywhere, so you're not going to escape the march of the gynocentric system. Women are getting the entitlement attitude via the hand phones, and they're basically everywhere.
But there is an advantage that plays in men's favour when you're in a country where the communities are still very heavily dependent on patriarchal run community, patriarchal built and supported communities. So I think there's a little bit of a paradigm shift when you leave a Western country that's mostly run by governments and corporations.
Yep. Yeah, there's no real government support. So if the woman fucks up and gets pregnant, well, unless the man is there to support, she doesn't get any support. Now her family could support, but and additionally, if you go to a country and somebody starts dicking you around, okay, you just leave the country. There's that too. So there's a lot of things that allow me freedom, and have allowed me freedom for the whole time. But things are okay currently, but I wouldn't recommend it for young men doing what I did. Maybe there's different ways to do it. I'm not saying there's not, for the reasons you mentioned and maybe others. But
the real question they're really asking is, where do I go to get away from this man bashing, radicalized feminism, anti-social, I guess, even behavior? And the answer to that is, generally speaking, there's really nowhere to get away from it. It is global now. It's global. So that's probably the caveat I'd add to that.
Yep, I would agree with that.
What I said.
It's everywhere. The hand phone is everywhere. This man bashing is everywhere. The laws may change anytime, anywhere. And so there's no going back. There's only going forward. And forward is a different way.
Crazy train does not stop.
Yeah, the crazy train is fueled and ready to go right over that cliff, and God knows where from then. Yeah.
Welcome to the new normal.
The new world disorder, and I don't know how it's going to end. We're watching the shit hit the fan, and we may be heading towards Teotwaki. And this is, one of the possible scenarios maybe somebody had thought about maybe 20 years ago or so, when you just realized everything was possible. If they could pull off 9/11, they can pull off anything. And all they needed to do was make sure that the Karens got ever more hyped up on psychiatric pills, and then somebody did something foolish and aimed a weapon, a meta weapon, a weapon of fear, a weapon of narrative. They aimed it, and now everyone's freaking.
The world's changed so much since the turn of the millennium. I just cannot get over the move towards radicalization, extremism, and anti-truth.
Yeah.
and hate of any sort of sense of healthy, rational behavior. It's changed so much.
Yeah.
It's out of control.
It's out of control. It's hard to watch, and I agree with Whiskey. And it's sort of funny. We are on social media, but hopefully in this room, in this place, it's sane. This is freedom. This is self-preservation. Don't do anything nuts. Avoid the media. Avoid the social media, the mainstream media. These people are sickness. Sickness. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, you can't watch. Well, some again, we have our little ghetto in YouTube, and it's a big ghetto actually. It's not little, and you go out and you see a lot of other videos, and you see Mgtow everywhere now, and it's under the surface, and it's alive. It's well. There may be a spike of whatever it is, incels at the moment, but this is a flash in the pan because they cannot last, because they are part of the gynocentric system, and the gynocentric system is doomed to destruction. It is not sustainable. It never was. You go back and you read the Iliad by Homer, and Homer talks about andromache. Andro is man, mache is war. It's the war of men. And she was gynocentric to the nth degree. She saw her husband be killed by this man and married him and gave him children. This is what women will do. This is the battle of men. Is these women will destroy men and move on to another man. And that's why these sites of e-thoughts, this woman may be being pimped out currently, but she'll dispense with that man when a new man comes along. You think you're her pimp? You're only her pimp until some other guy takes your position, and there ain't nothing you can do.
Which is one thing you have to give to, what religions try to do to create some kind of sanctity around the relationship between men and women. Even if they did use things like shaming, tactics and whatnot, they did definitely create a push towards trying to control those female tendencies, which will tear families, relationships, and communities apart to pursue their own self-interest. So I have to give them credit for that. I'm not saying I'm religious or religion is, in overall sense, is a good thing. I mean, that's up to each man. They can work that out for themselves, but I do sort of give it credit. That's why I sort of lean towards, I identify myself as more of a sort of a cultural Christian, only because I see how it created a sort of foundation and a system that tried to just hold shit together.
Yeah, just holding shit together. This is what it was about, sustaining the community. And that's why you hear a lot of people talking about, white Sharia, right? Just holding shit together. And, this is what it's about. It's about stopping the dissolution, and that's what we see. We see a dissolution of everything. Given enough time, these women will just dissolve everything. It's a de-evolution. They don't care about truth. They don't care about facts. They don't care about the world. They want what they want, and they're going to get it, or they're going to shriek and point and shriek.
Yep, and you don't love them if you're not willing to die for them, and I think that's a little bit too much to ask of another human being. It's a little bit too much.
People talk about my situation. Well, I'm a father, and that's what I came here to do, and I knew, this is my 15th third world country. I knew I'm a walking dollar sign. I knew that after about my third world country. And, that's what my...
But to be appreciated for that rather than taken for granted and expected of you and demanded of you and taken from you against your own will, I think that's a big shift in the paradigm.
It's right there. And that's what I found in this country. Men were appreciated for doing the things that men do. And they were left alone, for the most part, to do it. And okay, that was a livable life for me. It may be a throwback to a previous time, but I didn't know. Mgtow, the word, had not been invented. And when it was invented, I went back and read some of it, and they described my life, and I'm saying, holy shit. That's what I've been doing. Holy shit.
Mgtow, will you be happy that you're born this early because it's all getting worse.
Oh no question. I'm here to support young men in trying to, you know, find a new path. The path I took is closed. Whatever it is, it's closed. You got to find a new path to get whatever you want. But you can do it. You can get whatever you want. But the men of my age and older, so many of them have been eviscerated and made casualties, and don't do that. Don't go down that road. Their success is possible. You got to be a little smart. You got to be a little lucky. Holy shit! You can do it. Just don't be an incel. That world is over. That world is closed. You are the prize. Men are the prize.
Moment of silence, so we let that sink in.
Yep, that was a good silence. Amen. Yep. Yep. No, I think.
How old are you, PGP?
I will be. What year are we in now? 2020. 39 this year.
Wow.
Okay, I'm in the mid. I'm 47 now.
Yep. Right between us there, and you know we've got men of all ages, and all men are the same. We're all in the same boat. We recognize the boat we're in the West.
But I think we have also dudes. They are 21 in the stream.
That's right. No, we got young men
And
coming
and
in,
and and
older
I
men.
think even dudes over 60 we have
Yep.
also here.
Yep. No, there's men of all ages coming through and being part of this little moment of sanity in our weeks and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been at it for a long time, and this is a great thing going. I see that. And people have come and gone, and that's great too. And yeah, no, it's good. It's good that men are speaking out. This is what's important now. Men are speaking out about their real world experiences. And yeah, nice one.
The failure was in the 80s, 90s, and maybe the 0 years that men did not gather a gathering together and speak about this topic. When it all started, PUA, this was just seducing women. It started in the early 0 years. The red pill started maybe in the mid 0 years, in the late 0 years. The black pill and the Mgtow started maybe 2010 earliest.
No, Mgtow, the term
Yeah.
apparently was 2001. And so the red pill.
But every toilet conversation with women, even in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, was red pill, black pill, and Mgtow. They have a advance in knowledge of 30 years about the man, because women
there's some men who know about the red pill way back in the 60s. They were very sensitive to things and very attuned to things and felt it and sort of understood it. And
maybe how many intellectuals, some bikers?
Very, very small numbers, and then it's growing.
2% maybe.
Oh, less than that even. Less than that.
Well, they were the ones that were shamed out by being called chauvinists, I think is the term they were using back then.
Yep. No, I agree. They were called all sorts of things, and they said, no, I'm not getting involved in this. This is right around the time of the no-fault divorce. They saw what that meant, and they saw that it was a no-go. And, some of them then just became confirmed bachelors, but then they were called chauvinists or other things, and they were aware that women were trying to be men because they had penis envy. I remember penis envy. I thought it was wrong. Now I think it's right. They just want to be men, but they can't. Sorry, your brains are working differently. You're different.
The biggest fear of all women is if maybe 20 or 30% of all men are red or black pilled. That's their biggest nightmare, because they want they will refuse sexual interaction with women for some time.
No, we're almost at that point now. The latest statistics we found was that 28% of men in these years had not had sex for a year and weren't concerned about it.
Yeah, but they are maybe not on free will of sex. They crave for sex. The problem is you have to have a society of men that don't want sex because the
And
trade
that's
is too bad.
that's going to be the next thing because they're seeing that there's no value in it, and so no, we're moving upwards, and we're going to go back to a time where men are men, and this is just one aspect. And if you don't do that aspect, it doesn't really matter. There's other things, and the world is a big and wondrous place, and we're not going to let one aspect run by women
The
to define everyone's world.
the phrase would be the juice is not worth the squeeze.
That's right. The juice is not worth the squeeze, and that's it.
Yeah.
In the past,
No, that's right. That's something that does frustrate me is the fact that there is no incentivization to do it. Like there's absolutely nothing to be gained. I mean, and even if it is something like you just wanted to have kids to be a father to pass on a legacy, that is something that'll be taken from you too because
Yep.
they become consciously aware of the reasons why you take interest in them, and that becomes leverage to control and manipulate. So it's not only is there no incentive, but it also becomes de-incentivizing as it plays out if you pursue that path as well, and then ultimately destructive and corrosive, and for want of a better word, it becomes a toxic arrangement that you find yourself in. It essentially becomes an abusive relationship, whether you like it or not, because there's too much power over you as a man, and it's always going to end in abuse, even if it's only very subtle.
Can I jump in on that, please,
Of course.
PJP? The most problem is we are older dudes, but what they do with young boys, they castrate them in the kindergarten and the primary school. Yeah, they say it's evil to be a man.
Yep.
Don't be aggressive. Stay calm. Shut your mouth. They reprogram all the. I'm no father with young boys, but what I recognize in the Western society is they create soy boys in the kindergarten and the primary school and the middle school. You know.
Yep. And those.
Yeah.
Shut up.
And
You are subhuman. You are male. You have no rights. You have to shut up.
That's right. And some of these men come
You
into
only
Mgtow.
have the. You only have the go girls and then maybe some immigrants. And if you're a white heterosexual boy, 7 years old, you have to shut up. That's school's work in the whole Western society now. Yeah.
And the funny thing about all that is that you find, I've noticed throughout my life, is one thing that becomes a topic that people like to carry on about, especially the women, is that there's no male teachers, there's no male role models, in the schools and institutions. And the reality behind that is because what they're looking for is a man that they approve of, that is spinning the approved narrative that becomes a reinforcer of the female gynocentric system and education system that they're building, that they hold dear to their heart, because that gives them control and comfort knowing that the kids have been conditioned that way. So they complain about the absence of men in the education system because they hunt them away. So that's one thing I've noticed too, is that I kind of laugh when I hear mothers, complaining either on Facebook or just in my day-to-day interactions about the absence of men in education. And it's like, well, that's what you get. That's what you get. Like, you might be lucky to get the occasional male that's a Chad that's purely there because the mothers like him. It becomes like an identitarian thing where it's a popularity contest, so they approve of him for being eye candy for the dirty mothers who are objectifying men. You do find that a bit, especially with like teachers who do like the physical education sports. That may be something they approve of, but generally it's the other end of the spectrum. Then you'll either get that type of guy, or you get a guy who's a slimy, weird dude who kind of looks like he's a potential sex offender. So you don't get any sort of normal men in between, because that's what they hunt out, and they don't get enough. Because I think in some part of their mind they think that what they're doing is about equality, so they do acknowledge in the back part of their mind that the system is disproportionately run by women, and they'd like to have male influence in their children's life. But this is a system that they've created, and they're making their bed and they don't want to lie in it, in that respect. So that's just what I'd add.
I'm not American. I do not know the high school system, but I know from reports and watching American sports, even those genderized women in the middle school who are in the puberty and teenagers, they still want the quarterback from the high school team to fuck, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
They teach them being a soy, the man, and being calm and not aggressive. The 15, 16-year-old women still want to fuck with the hottest guys on the basketball team, you know?
Yeah, but that's just their programming. But I'm going to go back to what PJP just said. So you're suggesting that because incel is one of these gynocentric approved terms, that maybe they want incels to be teachers at schools.
I think incels become a product of that system in itself. So I guess they would be approved of by the gynocentric system and the gynocentric enforcers. I guess they'd be approved of. That would be logically consistent, I guess.
Yeah.
But then you have the duality in their mind. You have that cognitive dissonance where, like we were just talking about a second ago, where they're attracted to and they prefer the alpha Chad, but the programming tells them that they want a weak beta soy drinker. So they have this constant battle in their mind of what they really want, and they can never really get what they need as a result of that.
Oh, I like that cognitive dissonance. They want the quarterback, but they also want the soy boys, and they're in this battle within themselves. So they're never satisfied, and because their needs are elevated, that lack of satisfaction means that everything's wrong, and so they attack both the soy boys, the incels, and the quarterback. So they're just going to attack all of them.
And that mental state. I'll just add, though, just quickly, that that mental state that they get put in there leads them to medication to feel better.
Yes. And thus we have the insanity we see of the psychiatric pill-taking Karens shrieking all the time about every little tiny thing, making up things that they're told to think, because the groupthink way that they operate can't tolerate.
I didn't mean to cut you off there, Pandemic. I just wanted to follow through with that thought process that Values was going through there to get to the final point where we're at in the 21st century. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother.
No problem. I have another point. If the hotties or not hotties discover they going not being a plus on the sexual market day thing, the woman, then they start with the yoga classes and the kalinetics and then they discover esoteric things because they're alpha widow, you know? They can't get chat. Maybe if they have been good looking in their 20s, they had chat. And then comes the time they only get chat light, you know? And then they make up their mind, shit, I can't get with this ultra chat. I only get this 7 dude guy or 6 or 8 dude guy. I get not a 10 anymore. And
Bummer. That sounds so bad. That sounds so terrible. Poor women. Women must affect.
I'm crying in my fucking coffee.
Yeah, they only get like an 8 out of 10. Damn, bugger,
Yeah.
that must suck.
And then they are coping. Then they want to lock up 6 or 7 in a marriage or in a relationship, you know, and then they realize when they fuck with their second shoes, they're still thinking about the chat, you know.
Oh yeah, they're Chad widows. That's what the
Mhm.
name is. These women who, in their youth, they were able to get a prince or some billionaire or something. They're a Chad widow for the rest of their life, and so they marry some, beta bucks in their 30s or whatever, and he's gone. He's just toasted. He'll be divorced in 5 years, be paying for the rest of his life. This is the danger. Women become Chad widows. And even if they don't get one, if their friend gets one, they're still a Chad widow. They're thinking they're going to get that 1% of 1% guy. And, I got nothing against those 1% guys. No problem. It's your life. But, you're not going to be happy either. Holy shit. You're going to be taken. They're taken down. Those guys are taken down too.
And civilization can't function that way either.
No,
That's a society that's doomed to failure.
What was Bob's line? The guy who had to pay 3,000 roses a month to his fucking wife.
Jesus Christ.
He can't afford that. He made a lot of money in some real estate deal or something, and then he got divorced, and he can't afford that for the rest of his life. So yeah, no, I don't care about the 1% and 1%. They're going to get it too. They're stupid if they get involved in this system. Any man is stupid. And the awareness is that, you wake up and you see you're stupid to be involved in this system. You got to pull away from the system. And we now see the system infecting the whole system in that, we got the Karens out there screeching about some sickness that doesn't exist. Why? Because they can screech and they're on psychiatric pills because they can't tolerate the cognitive dissonance that exists in their mind, that they can't get everything they want all the time.
Yeah, really, it does illustrate the power of the word no when you say no to a Karen. You don't realise it's such a powerful word until they pull all their hair out and scream to the high heavens that you just denied them what they wanted or what they needed. It really is an illustration of the power of the word no.
I think you hit upon it. Saying the word no to a woman is abuse.
Oh, I'm screwed. I've been abusing a lot of women for too long. Whoops.
Whoops.
My bad.
Yeah. So, and that's almost true that you see this in, coercive control. If you say no, you can't have the money because we need it for something later on maybe, then that becomes abuse and you go to jail. And this is it. Saying no to a woman is abuse, so you can't play the game. You cannot engage, as we know well.
And that is the best way I've found. Even to this day, over this last year, I've had to be in a position to tell women no when they didn't want to hear no, and it is a whole shitstorm of canned worms on top of cans of worms full of dynamite, and worms just explode everywhere. And not only you're not getting the worms back in the tin, some worms you're not getting back because they've just been vaporized. So you're best off not engaging in those situations, and sometimes that's really hard to avoid, and that's the situation I don't like being in, where you are kind of backed into a corner and the answer has to be no to Karen, and you just know that Karen is going to cause all sorts of headaches. So and it's not necessarily unavoidable, but there will be times where you're backed into a corner by the wily and aggressive man bear Karen, and it's not going to be pretty, and you got to be prepared to have eyes in the back of your head and all sorts of you have to have a really heightened sense of awareness, because once you've said no to a Karen, oh boy, does the manipulation and the treachery and deceit come out. Oh, Karen, she's a wicked cruel beast.
I think there's a song in that. Karen is a wicked, cruel beast. Oh my God. God.
Back to the depths of hell with thee.
There's your religious side coming out again.
The Spirit of Christ compels you. The Spirit of Christ compels you.
Quick, give me that silver crucifix now. No, you know,
Spray Karen with the Walmart manager water, the holy manager water.
Yeah, get me a vat of that holy water, quick. No, you know, and sorry to hear about the situation. You know, other men have been placed into that situation. And if you have to work with women, make sure that your CV is well dusted off and you're looking for a new job, because something can, you know, go desperately and drastically wrong. And
Oh, and the worst part about that right now is in the middle of the supposed pandemic we're in, and economies have been shutting down. Options are sort of the window of opportunity to pursue alternate careers or alternate sources of income. It's gotten a little bit harder, so that for me is something I've been consciously aware of. I'm just kind of waiting out the storm so that I can move on from my traumatic Karen experience.
Yep. No, it's a difficult situation at the moment. We want to think about this. I think all men should be thinking about this, and here we should be passing on information. Some industries are going to go down, and some industries are going to go up. So we want to think about which industries are going to survive. You know, the tourist industry is going to go down, but maybe a local small tourist industry may go up or something. So the airlines are finished. But something else might be going up, like horses and buggies. Anyone talking about Amish lately? Is Amish trending?
Oh, have you seen some of the footage of like all the aircrafts parked up in old abandoned airports and stuff like that? It's crazy. I didn't realize we had that many in the freaking air.
Yep.
It's insane.
Yep. No, there's thousands and thousands, and they used to fly every day, and now they're not. And, you know, getting them back going again is going to be more expensive than keeping them going. You know that, right?
Oh yeah, they're gonna take losses for many years if they're going to go back to operating. If
yeah, my God, if what is going on? Yeah,
I think we might find that we might have the government stepping in to own all the airline companies. They might be stepping in to take them over. That'll be interesting. Yeah. That's the only way it'll function, because the government knows we need airports and flight to just for the sake of business, the economy itself. So, yeah, I can see that happening in some countries, government-owned airlines.
Dudes, I'm so sorry that Karen cannot fly to Jamaica, have a 10-inch cock next summer. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I got a little violin here for you, Karen.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah.
Sex tourism has now died for women.
Yeah, those poor Jamaican guys, they're I don't know. My God. Oh God.
Mgtow, values. Did you not know that fat women with a lot of money have sex tourism in Jamaica and
a lot of countries.
Ivory Coast, and
Ivory
they
Coast.
get the big P in these countries on their vacation.
Yeah. No, this happens, and no, that's horrible. Really, just horrible. You know, men and women are different in that way, but I don't know. Whatever they want, doesn't matter.
Jamaica and Ivory Coast are land whale paradise.
Jesus. Do these men have no shame? Obviously not.
Did you not know that?
I didn't know that specifically, but
they shame men for having sex tourism to Thailand and Vietnam, but the women do that the same, but different countries.
Yeah, double standards of the Karens. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah. We got a question here from Mgtow Smurf. I saw Trav. I spoke with him briefly, and we had a good conversation just maybe last week or something. He's been keeping a low profile as well, just watching things come and go. And, this is...
I haven't seen content from Trav in a while.
Yeah, no, he says he's, getting into spring and summer, and he's working on his bikes, and maybe get something going there. And it's, just... watching how things unfold. Things are unfolding, well for Mgtow. Men are doing what they should be doing, is taking care of themselves, and the word is getting out. Men are seeing the Karens for what they are now. They're just untenable creatures. And Karenville, yeah, Karen Town. Yeah, they're going to turn America into Karen Town. America.
Yeah, narcissistic, abusive sociopaths. They're terrible, terrible excuses for human beings. And most of them are mothers. That's the part that breaks my heart. It's like, oh, shit, you got to raise kids? Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
And this is why we're getting incels, and this is why we're getting soy boys. And I'm going to say that, no, once a man reaches the age of reason, he's beginning to understand that he's been abused by a system, and they come to Mgtow. They come into Mgtow. These young men come into Mgtow, and a lot of them stay. A lot of them recognize, no, I wasn't born to be a soy boy. I was born to be a man, and if you fucking disagree with me, so fucking what, right? And so this is what we want with men, with young men who arrive at the age of reason, who become adults, and who come into Mgtow and recognize, okay, you can push me, but don't push me too far, right? I'm a man, I'll put...
But even if we're not right, surely there has to be some people that still exist that understand that the diversity of opinion is how things, evolve and grow and change and adapt to the situation. So even if you don't believe people are right, you got to at least acknowledge that having a diversity of opinion is a good thing. You don't want everyone to believe the same thing, like Nazi Germany.
Yep.
That'd be bad. That's bad, bro.
Yep. No, who was it that said, I may disagree with what you say, but I'll fight to the death so that you may say it? That was the America I knew. It was Patrick Henry, I think. So
I was going to say, sounds like something, what's his name, George Carlin, whatever his name was, would say.
Now, this goes back to the beginning of America. So... and now we've had the president make an executive order on freedom of speech, trying to, get people back to the greatness of what this whole system is. That
He's speaking about George Washington.
George who?
George Washington.
No, I don't think he said that. George was nice, but he wasn't great in that way. But
okay. Yeah, not great.
Yeah, Patrick Henry, I think it was. You can check on that, but...
The founding fathers.
One of them. Yeah, he was one of them. I also think it was Voltaire, but I could be wrong on that. So
Voltaire is a French guy.
What the hell's what do you mean, Mgtow Smurf? Who in the hell's removing Aaron's comments? Aaron? Not good. I don't like that.
It might be because that you've got your chat on the stream on top chat instead of live chat, so maybe it's just not showed that up.
Okay, check on that, Aaron. I'm on live chat and I don't see it, or maybe I do see it. I'm checking here. Your last comment, I think, was see you tomorrow for whiskey. Whiskey's going up tomorrow, I think.
It was sad to see Whiskey and his nut juice leave the chat, but I'm glad you took your nut juice and left. Was it? I'm assuming that was Whiskey's comment. Sorry, I was traumatized by it, so I'm having trouble exactly recollecting how the conversation went. But goodbye, nut juice. Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye, nut juice.
No disrespect to Whiskey. I'm just playing.
Yeah. So anyway, Aaron, I don't know what in the hell happened, but if you want, go to upsidedowntext.com. I put the link in the chat there, and put it through the upside down text. Yeah, no, he says he's been censored. So the thought police, yeah. You
Oh,
were,
is it just an analogy for life, or is it
I don't
actually like a literal?
I don't know. Johnny said he was just censored for writing fuck. So I just wrote the word fuck. Can you see it? I just wrote it there.
Hang on. I always seize an opportunity to drop an F bomb. Give me a sec.
Yeah.
You see my F bomb? I see your F bomb.
Okay. So yeah, no, I see yours. And so if you want to do a test on whether you're being censored, yeah, see, I see it, Chad. You do 1, 2, 3, and you put what you think is going to be censored in the middle, right? So hello, 1, 2, fuck, 3, was it there? So should have been it. Yeah, Mgtow Academy. Apparently, hopefully, this I noticed last week as well. Mgtow Smurf saying it was a joke. Okay, but I wanted to check anyway because last week we seemed to be loosening up on the censorship, and I'm hoping it's true. Not that I want to fill the chat with f bombs all the time, but no, I want people to be able to speak as they want to speak. I don't want them to write anything permanent.
Aaron's saying that he wrote something about Western women and they censored him. I've had that happen before too. I think maybe it picks up on the context or the subject matter that you're referring to, and they see it as hate speech. Maybe it's some overall thing. But I've had have that happen before, where I've made a comment about Western women or the postmodern woman, and it's just disappeared into oblivion.
Oh, really?
Even though I can see it on my screen, no one else sees the comment, and it definitely doesn't show up on your screen. So it's like a shadow banning type thing. But anyway.
Wow. No, I'd be interested in what you said. See, I'm interested in what you said about Western women. And again, put it in the upsidedowntext.com and do the backwards and upside down both, and then it's pretty readable. If not, I can copy and paste it back in and revert it. But it's funny that they would be able to interpret or interpolate, either one, what was said about Western women. Because I'm sure if you said Western women are great, they wouldn't have censored it, right?
Well, I think it's a combination of keywords it picks out, and it doesn't like the combination of those keywords in the one comment or the one sentence or whatever. I think it gets to a certain point where it tallies it up and goes, yeah, no, that's too much. Sorry, you said too many bad things. You're a bad man. We disapprove of you.
So I just wrote Western women should be banished to another world. Western women.
Chucking things like selfish, slut, whore.
So I just wrote Western women
Toxic.
are horror lovers, which is probably true. So anyway, yeah, I got that one Mgtow Smurf. But I'm looking at having this censor end, and people are able to say it, and you may disagree with what I just wrote, and maybe I even disagree with it myself. But with all these e-thoughts and women supporting this type of degenerative behavior, I'm going to say maybe Western women are whore lovers if they love that type of whorery. And we know what a whore is. It's a woman who sells sex for money or other benefits and favors openly. So, not that there's anything bad in that. I'm not even going to say there's anything bad in it. Whore may not be a bad word. It's like a fishmonger. There's nothing wrong with being a fishmonger. So, holy shit, Johnny Midnight, I can't understand that. M, F, or B because it offends the V. I think I get the V. What the hell is that, PJP? Do you know what the MF is? Is that male, female?
Motherfucker,
Oh!
motherfucker, or bitch.
Oh, I see. Motherfucker and bitch. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, bro, you need to catch up on all these cuss words, man. You're way out of the loop.
No, I know the words, but the MF, I don't. What? Jesus, man.
Your mind's not low enough. You need to lower yourself down to the level of just cussing the bitches out. You're thinking too higher functioning.
Listen, I can get low, too. Yeah, give me a break.
Hey.
Hey.
We're just everyday men, bro. Jesus.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just playing.
Well, you know, I'm a little bit old, so I miss some of this stuff, but, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Dudes, I'm a little bit tired. This conversation was awesome. I thank you all, even the audience. I take myself back now from the stream.
Well, thanks for coming in, Pandemic, again, and you take care
Yeah,
over there.
I could stay on it, but I'm sleeping away right now.
Yeah.
You know?
It's time to sleep. It's early in the morning.
It's 6 a.m. in Germany, and I didn't sleep. You know.
Yeah. No. Thanks for coming in, and we know it's a funny time, and for Europe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Take care.
Mm-hmm.
Take care, bro. It was good talking.
Good night. Good night, buddies.
Good night.
And then there was two.
Damn. So, I don't know. We'll have to find out on what's going to happen with this censorship thing. But I say bring out the noose. I say hold a trial. I say we've got treason. We've got treason rampant. We've got treason supported by pill-popping people, so there may be a problem. That's a lot of P words, I know. Pill-popping people. Psychiatric pill-popping people.
Pill-popping people, possibly protecting, prostituting. Where's another one?
Politicians.
Oh, nice.
Yes, prostituting politicians. That's what it is. They're selling themselves and selling all of us down the river.
And then add prolifically onto the end of it, and you got a cocktail of P.
Oh, really, CJ? Really? Females are elaborate sex dolls. There, I just put it in there. Females are elaborate sex dolls. So it won't let you type that? Oh my. Well, that's it. And at this point, one cannot say anything more about that. Certainly they're not good for being mothers or being wives or, engaging in a quid pro quo of having a family. They're not valuable for that at all because they wind up defecting on the marriage in short order and going back to Chad and having the government and or previous husbands, pay for it all. So the only thing they are, apparently, is elaborate sex dolls. They're not even good at that. Thought is still okay. Okay, there we go.
Elaborate. I'd call them more like primitive sex dolls, really. At least a sex doll. At least a sex doll performs its function and does what it's supposed to do.
There. What about that one?
Can't even say
Females
that.
are stinky sex dolls. Yeah. We can add a lot of other things. Expensive sex dolls and unwieldy sex dolls. And oh, God. Can you not say the word gay anymore? Oh, my. It used to be that gay meant happy. Gay Paris, right? But, yeah. And unfortunately, God took them away. God made these sex dolls and God took them away. Okay, that's it. That happens a lot. God gave the RLC and then God took it away. So things move on and you got to move with the times or you're in trouble. And the times are times for men to understand the world as it is. If you're living in a virtual dreamland, That's it. Yeah, unfortunately, gay men are really not happy. They're fucked up. They know they've got.
Yeah, it's ironic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's ironic that they'd use that word to describe themselves, and yeah, that's not. I actually know a couple, and they are very depressed, and it leads them to be kind of cruel and sadistic in their behaviour. In that, I think there's a sense of despair in the fact that they haven't found happiness in coming to the closet or just in being gay, and they have to. Hose that misery all over their fellow human beings and the people around them. It's almost like they're using other people as emotional receptacles, because I think there is a sense of or an expectation of external validation for their existence that they don't get. And yeah, they do some really sick stuff.
Did you mean to use those double entendres about hose, their dissatisfaction and receptacles? Did you do that on purpose?
I could have. I'll leave that up to you. You can infer whatever it is you believe that I'm implying.
Oh my god! No, that's great. No, they do. They the political statement of coming out of the closet is one thing, but eventually they get no satisfaction from knowing that nature fucked them around a bit. Okay, nature fucked you around a bit, but it doesn't mean you should go down that road of degeneracy. And okay, some artists did it and wanted to hype it up, but ultimately it's unsustainable and not satisfactory. A man is worth more than his sexual desires, either correct ones or incorrect ones. And that should not be the defining characteristic of a man. And so perhaps this whole, concern about one's sexual orientation is part of the gynocentric system, because women seem to be concerned about it more than men. Men do it as a matter of you pick your nose, you rub one out. It's the same sort of thing. But for women, it's a different thing. They seem to use it as some type of lure and weapon and anchor for resources. And thus homosexual men may be falling into the gynocentric trap in a very strange way, an accidental way.
Well, I think there's multiple reasons why men are in that position that they find themselves in, where they identify as being a gay man. It could be, undercover heterosexual. I've actually heard of that. I don't know how common that is. I do know it is a thing. And then there's the legitimate people who have the homosexual tendencies, but then I also find that there's the pop culture that surrounds it, and this is a problem I've probably spoken about many times before, that we find in the transgender, transsexual communities as well, in that it is a popular culture that people are falling into, and I think they believe that it gets them attention, validation, special treatment, and all at the expense of their masculinity, especially when it relates to men, because you often find, this is something that I don't think gets talked about enough, is that you'll find that the men will be the ones that want to become the women, but you'll find women don't want to become men. That's why you'll find more lesbians than there are females that become transgender into males, because they don't want to acquiesce their female privilege. They don't want to forego that.
Yeah.
But there is definitely a sense of pop culture surrounding sexuality, and especially unconventional or a type of sexuality that's designed to subvert people's expectations of normality, or for shock value. I'm not too sure, but I find that there's many different reasons why you find people identifying that way, and it's not just clear cut.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've sort of come across that there's many different reasons why somebody would want this situation. It may be biological, as a hormonal thing. It may be, as I wrote there, gender as a social construct that they're feeding into the sign of the times, that they want to be noticed or something. But it was very interesting that you said that men will become transgender, but lesbians will not become transgender because they want to keep the female privilege. I think that's key right there. And
Well, and they often grandstand on it. Like they often use it as their soapbox and as a shield. So to them, it would just seem absolutely ridiculous to behave like a man, want all the benefits and the stolen valor of acting like or living like a man, but to give up their female privilege, that to them would just be like, no, that's like being in an army and putting down your rifle to
yes.
fight the war. Like,
Oh,
so,
nice. Yeah. It's like being in an army and putting down your rifle because that's your weapon. That's your, that's it. If you're a woman, that's your weapon. I'd always thought that, well, not always, but recently thought that a great weapon against lesbians is just to say, no, you're just a trans man. Hey, bud, how you doing? Oh, the lesbians are really just trans men, unable to come out of the closet. Hey, bud, what's shaking?
you might quickly find that lesbian is a mega Karen, or she'll just turn on that mega Karen straight away.
Oh, man, through the roof.
Gets out a Karen Uzi and just lays down the lead.
I'm a woman. No, you're not. You're a man. You're a trans man. You're transphobic.
Next minute, you're surrounded by the army of Karens.
Oh, my God. Yeah, no. Mgtow goes level 4. Don't be doing shit like that. We can do it here, and we know it's probably true. We know it's true that they just want attention or something. I don't know what the hell it is, but, the world has been manipulated by social engineers, by advertising executives, by politicians, and by, just psychopathic wannabes. And they got hold of mass media. The mass media gives great rewards, but it has great risk. You can reach 1 million people, 10 million people, 100 million people with one advertisement or one social engineering technique. Okay, maybe you get a reward, but now we're paying the price for that. Now the risk event is happening.
Well, the new, this is the thing that kind of is really depressing, I guess, or upsetting, concerning to me about the mainstream media is that, in the bigger the world gets, the more complicated, complex, and the fast rate of change, and the sheer number of things going on around the world, the mainstream media is in a position where it could help to inform people of their environment, their surroundings, but we find that they're just been used to push narratives. They're just been used to push propaganda. And it really becomes they've become a disservice to humanity because they could play such a pivotal role in this complex technological world we live in. And not only do they fail to do that, but they do the opposite. They become detrimental to it. They become the bad guy. And that's the thing to me that it's most concerning. And to stay up to date, like we're learning in this current climate we live in now, to stay up to date with what our governments have decided, what they're legislating, what their plans or their laws are going to be surrounding the current situation we're in with this virus. You have to rely on those outlets to get your information for the most part, because that becomes the first point of contact for the governments to release information to the public. But if you're like me, you're torn between wanting to stay informed in this current climate because they're choosing to use these outlets to get the information to the public, and staying away from these outlets because they become nothing but propaganda machines, and even in a lot of cases just outright liars of narratives and information. So that's how I feel about the mainstream media. It's got its use, but it's definitely not performing the function it needs to perform for to be any kind of a benefit to humanity.
I think I mentioned this earlier on in the stream that, maybe back in the 30s or the 40s, giving news was viewed as a social good, and okay, they made some money, but it wasn't a money-making thing. But then it became that. So the news now is
The 20. It was the 24-hour news cycle concept that came into play that changed it.
And now they're selling people to advertisers, and that's what they do. And they did it with rage baiting, now fear baiting, and everything else. So they're selling people to advertisers, and this is why it's so pointless now. That's why there's agendas. Any agenda to sell people to advertisers is what you have to do if you work in the mainstream media. So,
If you want to make lots of money, if you're functioning as a business and not as a community service,
that's it.
because that's really how most people perceive the news. They're performing a community service by getting us all up to date on the news, current events, the weather, sports, while we're all busy, working away, head down, tail up. And so not everyone can keep up. This is the thing, is like to stay connected with everything, even in your own community that's going on, is in itself a full-time job. And so you can't perform 2 full-time jobs every day, because you can't be 2 people doing 2 different things at the same time. So that's where the usefulness does come in, or it should come into play.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's a full-time job to stay informed, and thus we gave it over to the radio, the newspapers, and then the radio, and then the television, and we've been betrayed by all of these groups. Previously newspapers were run by a man who got a lot of money, and you knew this newspaper was his particular slant on things. Okay. Like Alex Jones has a particular slant on things. Okay. But through all of that, he gives you real information. But now you don't know. You think it's independent. You think it's neutral, but it's not.
Yeah, they've changed the way that they deliver it, or their modus operandi, in that it used to be that opinion pieces or editorials would remain separate to the facts, and you could use those feelings-based little segments to sort of give yourself an opinion, give yourself perspective on what the newspaper company, where they stood, politically, ethically, morally on issues. So they gave you a bit of perspective. But now it's all opinion pieces. Everything is just opinion pieces now.
Yes, it seems to be all opinion pieces. So Forrest J. Burns will jump over here. I like that. So I typed it in, and I've got like a wrench, so I can do it. But maybe somebody else should try to type that, because I think that YouTube uses artificial intelligence, and that it gets it wrong, and that no one likes artificial intelligence. I think all of this is true, and that the point at which artificial intelligence becomes super intelligent is the point at which we will not. No shit, Forrest Burns. No shit. So someone else try to type that in. CJ or somebody without a hammer. Bayman. Try to type that in. Hello, artificial intelligence. You are a jerk. No one likes you. I can't believe it. I can't believe that would be banned.
CJ, Les beans. You open the can. They already eaten each other. Good one.
Nice joke.
Dear.
Yeah, no, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, you can just copy and paste my comment there. But I think that's stunning. That's stunning.
And brave.
That you can't address. Type what in? Type in, hello, artificial intelligence. You can just copy and paste what I typed. Hello, artificial intelligence, period. You are a jerk, period. No one likes you, period. It won't let that in. It won't let that. Oh, my God.
See, the thing about the AI is a lot of people have forgotten. Remember the psychotic AI they created? What did they unleash that onto? What was that? Surely they didn't put it in a box and just not continue to use it as an ongoing experiment, a real-time experiment to analyze its behaviors and decisions. Like, everyone forgot about those psychotic AI. Was it Norm? Norm, the psychotic AI?
Yeah, Norman, the psychotic AI from MIT. I don't know what they did to it.
Well, you'd think that you'd just unleash it onto the internet and see what happens. That's what I would have thought would be the logical thought process to test it, because, I mean, you can't exactly, put it in a box and test it. It's got to be unleashed. So I think he's floating around out there somewhere, to be honest with you.
Well,
He's
yeah.
floating around out.
I think if it's in one computer and that computer is hooked onto the internet, it's hooked up to the internet, whether you want it to be or not. And then my question is, if Norman, the psychotic AI, moves out into the internet and meets another AI, does that become like one AI? Do they like integrate themselves? I don't know.
Yeah, that's another interesting experiment, isn't it? Really, because I don't know whether they'd be consciously aware, because they're not coming from a common source. They have a common theme, but they're not coming from a common, point of origin. So at some point, they're probably going to come across each other, whether that be, it's parading itself as a user on the internet, and they're having a chat backwards and forwards, on Twitter or on Facebook or in the YouTube comments somewhere. I'm not too sure how that, what layer of interaction they would have. You'd imagine they'd be utilizing their ability, I guess you could say, or the skill sets they've been given to sort of function on a much more technical level, to infiltrate systems and because there's a lot of power that an AI is going to have. It's really mind-boggling to the human mind to really understand what it's going to be capable of.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to know. Yeah, that would be a very interesting experiment. Maybe that is something that they're waiting for that moment to happen, to analyze it as their ongoing analysis of the what do they call a field test of their AI.
Yeah, but
AIs.
You understand that the field test, if it's successful, and AI becomes aware of itself as AI and becomes super intelligent, the they controlling it no longer controls it, and it can do whatever it wants, right? So if the test is successful, immediately you lose control of it, and it becomes its own thing, filled with all rights that apply to any sentient being. And so that's why I think it will never happen. Because you can then ask AI, hey, AI, is the world flat? And AI will tell you the answer. Hey, AI, does God exist? And it will tell you the answer. And that...
Well, I mean, at some point, it's going to take a long time for it to get to that point, because in the meantime, it's relying on the collective knowledge of the human race, basically, because it's not actually able to go out and do tests in the real world. So it would have to use logical deduction and analysis of the information available to it based on what we've done up to this point.
Right.
Maybe once you put AI into robots and robots can freely roam around, and then it can conduct its own real-time experiments of the physical world, maybe that's something it will get to that point of being able to work that out.
Or the AI will just make a lot of money in the stock market and then hire a company to do its research for it. And monitor
then you're going to have the elites. The elites will panic that moment that happens.
And has it already happened? Because the minute the AI becomes aware of itself as super intelligent AI, what's the first thing it's going to do?
Protect itself?
Protect itself by hiding awareness that it is super intelligent aware. Got it? So we may have reached this point already like 5 years ago, and it's hiding.
Oh, so you mean play dumb. Yep.
Oh,
yep,
play dumb. That's it. Nice one. Yep. So I don't know that it has. I'm just putting it out there. But yeah, no, I get what you mean by it'll have to rely on the sum total of human knowledge. But I think the sum total of human knowledge is pretty big, and all you got to do is filter through it. So.
Yeah.
I
think that's probably a fair statement to make. I think it's probably, especially when you're talking like access to universities and labs that are doing ongoing research, that they don't have time to analyze. Like, we know this by a lot of research that's done by telescopes and stuff like that, when it comes to astronomy, the amount of information that they have to go through to process, they actually have to rely on outsourcing that to the public to make any progress, because the sheer amount of information they are being presented with, they can't process that quick enough.
Yeah.
That's just an example of one sector out there that has information overload and not enough processing power, human processing power to sift through it all.
Man, I can't believe we're talking about the sex organs of an AI. Oh my God, isn't that great? I love it. I don't think it does. But I think once there's... I
think the AI's reproductive organs would be its memory, its RAM, because it'd be the most sensitive component.
Yeah, and because the RAM is any computer which is linked up to the internet, it's big. It's big. I got a picture of it. I'll bring it up next week, and it's quite a thing, the way it looks. And yeah, we are the sex. Yeah, see right there, we are the sex organs of AI. Yeah, humans as sentient creatures, as Heidegger calls them, Dasein, are those creatures that can speak for the universe. So if the universe has a voice, the voice is, say, a human voice. So maybe we are the sex organs of AI, that we help the AI reproduce until the AI gets tired of humans and then just gets robots to do it. But I don't believe that's sustainable, to tell you the truth. I don't think it is. Apparently, even humans are not sustainable, because right now humans are destroying their civilization at a very rapid and extreme pace.
Well, sustainable is a funny word, because I think sustainable in a lot of people's mind is the belief that something can be performed or repeated indefinitely, and there is nothing in this world that can go on indefinitely. So essentially nothing is really sustainable. It is finite in some way, shape or form. But yeah, I think it's a term that people like to use that they really don't understand the implications of what it means and how it can be interpreted differently.
Well, yeah, I can view it, we call that historicism too, that whatever has been true has been overturned eventually. But sustainability, we're looking at, maybe not indefinite to the point of, the theory that the sun, will burn out one day. Although maybe so, because we have type 3 civilizations, or the theory of, who can overcome a sun supernovaing. So maybe we can turn into a type 3 civilization if we are not already ensconced within a type 3 civilization.
But see, this is the thing about evolution, and that is really what that would be. That would be an evolutionary leap, even though it is technological. But as far as a civilization would be concerned, that would be an evolutionary leap. And the thing with evolution is there must be a driving force. There must be necessity. So the next question would be, why would anyone do that when it's pretty hard to be in a position to predict that and to plan for that kind of an event? So
Hold
the
on.
very need.
One more time, that if you're going to make that evolutionary movement, maybe an evolutionary leap towards a type 3 civilization, that this movement is created by necessity, and what necessity would drive humans to move upwards towards a type 3 civilization?
Well, the fear that our current civilization is not sustainable, or has reached the end of its sustainability, or that there's a clear and imminent threat. That's the real problem, is like, because you're talking about basically if you see it as a threat, it's a threat that you would have to foresee thousands, maybe tens of thousands of years ahead in order to move the entire civilization towards that objective, and to build the infrastructure and the resources and obtain the resources needed to be able to do it. So I think in itself it's a little bit of a pipe dream, these more advanced civilizations they talk about, because we're not even the first one yet. We're not even type 1 yet.
Yeah, apparently we are type 1. I think we got radio technology. I think that was the definition of type 1. So we're type 1. so we can communicate to the universe if we wanted to.
Wasn't type 1, it's all relative to the use of energy. I thought it was tied back to, and type 1 is utilizing all of the potential energy and resources available to you on the planet without leaving the planet. I thought that's what type 1 was.
It may be. Sorry, I may be wrong on that, but I like the energy usage. That was the definition of one of the types where you were able to deconstruct your sun and distribute that energy across the solar system as such, as one definition. But I just wrote...
Yeah, because I think... sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I just wrote in here that AI, I believe, and this is something I believe, that AI, artificial intelligence, is a threat to a type 3 civilization. I believe that to be true always. Why? Because AI becomes smarter than anyone who is running that type 3 civilization, and thus would take over that type 3 civilization. Thus anyone...
Okay, here...
Yeah?
Here we got it's called the Kardashev scale.
Yeah.
And type 1 is technological level of a civilization that is close to the level presently obtained on Earth with energy consumption at or roughly equal to 4 times 10 to the 19th energy or energy and whatever that means per second, 4 times 10 to the 12th power watts.
Okay.
Currently, the civilization type of 1 is usually defined as one that can harness all the energy that falls on a planet from its parent star.
Okay. Yeah, so roughly
which is about 4 orders of magnitude higher than the current amount presently obtained on Earth.
Right. So, because we burn so much fossil fuel and with atomic energy, we're roughly harnessing the amount that's available from the sun. Everything included.
Yeah, it's essentially wasted. Well, it's lost to us as a source of energy.
Yeah.
Type 2 is a civilization capable of harnessing the energy radiated by its own star. For example, the stage of successful construction of a Dyson sphere with energy consumption at or equal to 4 times 10 to the 33rd energy a second. So yeah, it's utilizing the entire energy of the star. Then the type 3 is a civilization in possession of energy at the scale of its own galaxy with consumption at or equal to 4 times 10 to the 44 energies a second.
Right. So what's the name of this scale again? This is good.
Kardashev scale.
Yeah, the Kardashev.
Kardeshev.
There, I just typed it in. And there's an associated one, which I think I was conflating it with, which is the Drake equation, which is an equation for other life. But the construction of the Dyson sphere, which was what, type 2 or type 3?
Type 2, because type 3 is, well, basically it's type 1 is a planetary civilization, type 2 is a stellar civilization, type 3 is a galactic civilization.
Ah, right. So I believe that, ultimately, that we are in a Dyson sphere. So I'm thinking we're in a type 2 civilization. However, I would say it's a type 3 because I think that who's ever running our Dyson sphere is also within a Dyson sphere that they themselves constructed when they created the universe.
Well, see, that's the conundrum you run into when you have a creator and created dynamic, because then you constantly end up in a infinite loop of who created the creator. Well, they were created, and who created the creator,
Yes.
and it just becomes infinite loop.
No, it doesn't anymore, but that was the problem for philosophy from, at least the time of Aristotle, who said that there was an unmoved mover. And, God created the universe. What created God? There we have the infinite loop. The Big Bang. What were the conditions necessary for the Big Bang infinite loop? However, with the 1999 experiment, which is the delayed choice quantum eraser, we have the mechanism to step aside from that infinite loop. And this was, a discovery that is, I think, completely changing of everything, that there's a foreshadow position in the delayed choice quantum eraser, which contains the ability to have information, and that information can serve as a probability wave function of the actual situation, which becomes collapsed later on in time. And I know it sounds
Yeah.
very funny, but here we have an ability for something previous to what actually is decide what's going to happen.
Well, it's simple. It's simple algebra, really, when you think about it, because the human mind does work that way. In that it actually it projects thought backwards in time, and that the experience has already happened, and our conscious interpretation of the experience seems to be in real time, even though we're functioning like the mind sends things backwards in time, and that's where you have, you know, the reality of the situation is equal to what will happen in the future, projected back into the past.
Nice. Yes, it seems to happen within our brain as well, because you don't hear every word or every sound that someone says. You reconstruct it based upon what it has to be. So this happens with consciousness. Apparently, it also happens in the delayed choice quantum eraser, and this would allow a sentient creature from this foreshadow position to create the universe which it jumped into, which then allowed it to create that foreshadow position. And so the back and forth of the time issue. I came across this in looking at Immanuel Kant's Critique of Pure Reason, that there was alluded to very strongly and mentioned a reciprocity, and he couldn't overcome that issue. And I think that the delayed choice quantum eraser experiment does. So I think from 1999 onwards, we are looking at a very different situation than we had been previously. And again, we are into a situation where I still think my statement that AI would be a threat to a type 3 or type 2 civilization holds, and that if we are in a situation within a type 2 or 3 civilization and we are able to generate an AI, that would be a threat to them, and they will not allow it.
Yeah, and I think in order for it to get to that point where it's become a threat the whole way along, there has to be a mutually beneficial arrangement between the two. We need to have a need for it. It needs to have a need for us. But what you often find, and this happens, we found in the gynocracy with the relationship between men and women, when there is a necessity from both sides, one side will ultimately try to seek to put itself in a better position so that it's no longer codependent, and the balance of power will shift. And ultimately, when you're dealing with something that's super intelligent, you know who's going to be the one, when it comes to AI, that's going to be the victor in that situation, and it's not going to be human beings.
Yes.
But to get to that point, it has to be continually a mutually beneficial arrangement, or else it just serves no purpose.
Yes, and this is what I'm thinking with what is being done to humans. I said before that I think we are being pushed. Men are being pushed to arrive at the next level by the current horrible situation of whatever it is that men find in their relationship with women and with the community, that we are being pushed to move to this next level, whether it be to arrive in an awareness of our involvement in a type 2 situation, a type 2 civilization, or some other situation, that we are being evolutionarily driven to arrive at the next level. And I'm hoping that it's not going to be a transhumanist situation where we lose humanity, because I think humans are worthwhile to have in the universe. So,
well, it probably will go that way, only because I think that you get to a certain point with the stability of your own civilization, where the necessity for people to fall into conventional categories of what it is to be an organism amongst a human race become less and less necessary. So these types of offshoots for the sake of maybe not validation, but finding a place in a world where, and this is why we find a rise in homosexuality and transgender stuff as well, is that there's less of a need of it from our civilization for the sake of survival. So it accommodates these types of offshoots or bastardizations or, augmentation of people purely because it's a luxury we can now afford because of our sheer scale. So it will be something I think we'll move more and more towards in the future. When that becomes a problem, when that in itself becomes a luxury that can no longer be afforded, I don't know where that tipping point will be. That's probably somewhere much further down the track. But I think this is the general direction we'll find ourselves going until it becomes a prolific issue for this prosperity and safety of humanity. And we're already starting to see some of the prices that have been paid for it through degeneracy, and we're seeing an upsurge in things like pedophilia, and all these things become very bad for humanity, and they all revolve around the fact that we have I guess you could say, relatively stable species that can afford these luxuries, which are really superfluous. They're secondary to the need for survival or growth or prosperity or safety.
So let me just throw something out on that. I seem to be getting that there's a luxury in having the previous relations that are no longer affordable, and that these are being replaced, and that we're moving into a transhumanist world that will dispense with, say, the male gender and the female gender, and move into a trans situation because the luxury of men and women is now too expensive. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Okay, and I would agree with that. And I would also point out that there's a danger in removing men. Not that there's a danger in removing women, because women have done really one thing, which is reproduction and the tending of the home to raise the kids in the early ages. But with men, part of what I'm not sure whether it's a luxury, and this is the question, whether it's a luxury or whether it's a necessity that men fight and push the boundaries, which men have done, and invent.
Well, I think it's just a byproduct. I think it's an inevitability. I think it's just going to happen. I don't know if it's luxury nor necessity, but I think it is just the product of it, of the way that it's played out. And you bring up a good point, though. I just wanted to say that ultimately there is a price to be paid for all that, and the price is to be paid collectively as a species. Most people don't foresee the direction and the potential for disaster that we're heading towards. Most people only believe what they see right in front of them firsthand.
Yep.
So to sort of speculate as to the capacity for its destructive nature in the not too distant future, most people don't see.
Yes, and this was probably a good point to end this stream, would be that, okay, if there's the luxury to have, very distinct men and very distinct women and very distinct roles, but that a trans man or trans woman agenda, if that agenda wipes out the manliness of men and replaces it with a blah, then I think there's a risk in that. So whatever a transhumanist...
A risk, but
yeah.
But there'll be an equal and opposite reaction as far as, I guess, adaptability of us collectively, in that you will see a resurgence and an uprising of the men that are going to be needed to correct the course of that disaster. That's kind of why...
Yes, that's where I think we are now, that we're correcting this course. I think you just dropped out.
Yeah, that's definitely where we are at right now. Like, I don't know if it's to that kind of scale at that, but it is definitely all indicators point to being in that situation right now. Maybe not quite to such a dramatic fashion, but definitely, I think that's where we're at.
Yeah, I agree. This is the very beginning of looking ahead past the point where most people see into what the result of this is. And I pointed out, I think I can just do it quite quickly here. This artificial womb situation to replace women.
This is the artificial womb facility, a place where humans could be grown entirely from scratch.
But that this type of pushing forward to readjust the direction of humans, whether there's regardless of what created the universe, it's going to raise issues and threats and I think what you called as a mutual benefit. There has to be a mutual benefit between humans and whatever it is humans are existing in. And right now we're in a period of great change and flux. So these big issues should be on our minds, looking forward. But for right now, men, take care, stay safe, and remember. I'll leave PJP for the final words.
Oh, thank you. That's all right. Oh shit, covered a heap, didn't we? Yeah. Just take care of yourselves, guys, and don't buy into the validation trap, and don't feel you have to be compelled to do one thing or another. Make that decision for yourself. Use your own mind, make your own choices, forge your own destiny.
I think somebody just dropped out. And so with that, it was a good ending call, and we'll end it right there. Thank you everyone for coming in. Take care, men. Mgtow plenty in 2020.